Welcome back to A Corporate Time. So we've got a guest on the line, and I wanted to talk to Jamie because it seems like it just happened to us. My buddy Turkey Leg was telling me about it on the camping trip, and what his insurance, his homeowner's insurance, what they estimated it to go to. It basically is $10,000 a year, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I was like, "Whoa!"
My company just decided it's not going to be a company anymore, so I had to reach out to Blanchard as well.
Yeah. Mine went up $1,000 a year, and I know it's been going up crazy.
I got
for
a
everybody.
friend who's pushing $8,000 on his is a lot.
And so homeowners insurance has gone crazy, and I know that Jamie Hoover will tell us about it from Blanchard.
The fastest replies on the BDM page I've ever seen in my life. This woman takes it seriously, and if you have a problem and you're on the BDM page, she will gladly help you out.
How you doing, Jamie?
I am good. How are you guys?
Good. So
good.
So
no, this is an insurance fiasco. You can call it that for sure.
Why are things going crazy?
So this stems back to what some of the things that we've talked about before with claims. And, insurance companies are set up to pay catastrophic claims. They're not set up to pay fraudulent claims. So over the last few years with the roofs, the free roofs, from hail damage, storms, that's not considered, a catastrophic claim that the insurance companies were ready for. And then water claims are just as bad, if not worse. Refrigerator lines, busting if you don't change your filters on your fridge, and things leak, and then it's the whole kitchen floor and the bottom cabinets and the whole new $100,000 kitchen later for a $10, refrigerator line maintenance part. So those are the things that the insurance companies are dealing with. It has put a lot of insurance companies in Florida out of business. That's why, like Sam said, the companies are pulling back. And then the other ones are restricting guidelines because they don't want new business because they're still dealing with all of the claims and the issues from what's going on right now. And then you add into the fact that Florida is the number one litigious state in the country, meaning the highest lawyer fees in multiples. So these claims, if they are pushed to court, it goes from $100,000 to $600, percent.
Sure.
So it's 600. It's just incredible. So I'm not one to say that insurance companies, are the best thing since sliced bread and whatever, but they're having a hard time.
Right.
And you see it in your premiums.
There you go.
So Jamie, is there anything that we all can do to somehow, because from what I'm seeing from my friends and family and everybody I talk to, they're like, oh my God, like my buddy down in Miami who I told him it's his fault for living down in Miami because it's Miami's fault because I feel like it's all coming from
And that's the first helpful thing we do. When people come to us and they say our insurance is too high, the first thing we do is we're like, well, you're an idiot. Of course it's too high. You're an idiot. And then a second I go, did you talk to Blanchard? They go, no. I go, double idiot.
But so then anyway, he's like, oh man, like I have to find cheaper insurance. But I'm like, good luck. I don't think that exists. And then
no. And Tri-County, it used to just be Tri-County that was the hard, because of the litigation, really. So Tri-County was really hard to cover, that Miami-Dade area and north. Now that has creeped up into Central Florida, and that's why we're feeling the Miami premiums here in Orlando and the surrounding counties, because they call it Solo, Seminole, Orange Lake, Osceola, and then I've heard Polos or something, adding in Polk, and now it's creeping into Volusia. And that whole Miami, exactly.
What's Grady going to do?
Grady Polk County, you stay out of this.
Now I have it under good authority that I believe Grady Judd is going to try and shoot the high insurance rates out. He's going to shoot them and kill them dead. If he can
scumbags.
If he can kill those scumbags dead, he will. He'll try.
So Jamie, what should someone do? Okay, let's say they got a letter in the mail and their premiums are going up astronomically, because mine just went up $1,000 a year, and I'm not even sure if that is the standard, if I should bother shopping around.
Right.
Like, what else? Can you look about getting, wind mitigation? What's that?
Yeah. So
I heard that before.
so we're all insurance experts now with the terminology, right? So I would go off percentages. All right. So 30-40% is the average right now. It's normal. Anything over that, you should consider reshopping your policy, with Blanchard Insurance. If some ways that you can help get credits is, like you said, the wind mitigation report. If you've replaced your roof, in the last few years, definitely get the wind mitigation inspection. I don't know if we have a home inspector BDM, but reach out to them, and it'll show credits for the roof, how the roof's attached, the condition, all of that.
We do have a homeowner's, we do our home inspector, pardon. We have a home inspector. We also have a female body inspector. FBI.
We've got lots of those.
We have lots of FBI members.
More than those in regular.
Most of those are Volusia, Daytona Beach area are FBI female body inspectors.
Okay.
So
old T-shirt from the 80s, Jamie. You're too young for that. You're too young.
Yeah. Okay.
So Jamie, what I guess would be considered too much? Because I think everybody thinks what they're paying is too much, but I think it's that too much is probably the standard. But then there's an egregious amount that's hey, you shouldn't be paying over X amount. Is there any a
red flag? Is that what you're looking for?
Is there any red flags?
I'll tell you the risks that are getting affected the hardest are the older homes. Okay, so older than 1980, let's say, that haven't had any updates. So remember your home maintenance. All right, so replace plumbing fixtures under the sinks and toilet lines, your refrigerator lines. Replace your roof when it needs it before you're going to file a claim on it for something. Just do your home maintenance, and that's going to keep your insurance premiums lower. So the older homes are getting hit hard. The older roofs are getting hit hard. And I know it's hard for people to understand they need to replace their roof if it's only, 10 or 15 years old. But the Florida sun plays havoc on the roofs. The granule loss, the wind damage, all of that. But it's part of being a homeowner.
Yeah.
So you have to take responsibility.
You're right. A lot of people don't want to. It's almost like it's a double fight. It's
they wait it out.
Yeah. You may not.
Yeah.
You may
well,
not.
Now we're all paying for it is the problem.
Correct.
So now everybody's waiting it out, and now we're all paying the price for it, whether you jumped on the bandwagon or not.
Yeah.
And what's worse about the claims, the one roof claim, they're still filing it under catastrophic on your policy, like act of God. So that's not going to affect your premiums as much as the other claims. But what happens is you do that, and then you really have a claim, like you have a real claim.
Right.
Now you have two claims, and then something else happens. So it's almost like you don't want to be the boy who cries wolf. You want to, only really make a claim if it's a legitimate claim because let's say you get your free roof, and then a year later, now you have some water thing, and you really have a claim. Now you're really going to have a hard time getting your premium back down or getting any company to cover it at this point.
Right.
Homes with previous claims was just helping some BDM clients in the last couple days, and the home they were purchasing had a $4,000 water claim. Well, the deductible was probably $2,500. This person filed a water claim literally to get $1,500 paid. So now it's affecting the new person buying the house because the claim was on the house and it's showing up. Everything reports. So just be really conscious when you're doing these things. It's affecting new home buyers buying properties that have had claims. The claims reports check your insurance reports from any claims you've ever filed and the property that you're buying. So just because the neighbor's got a $1,500 policy doesn't mean you're going to.
Right.
So the newer construction really is the best route for insurance right now. The premiums are super low. You'll get that teaser rate type of thing for the first few years. The insurance company that has new roofs on it. Anybody that has a new roof is getting a break on their insurance premium, no matter how they got it. But the older homes are getting hit really, really hard.
So, Jamie, if someone they think they're maybe paying too much or they just want to check it out, if they just give you a call, give Blanchard a call, you guys can go over that for free and let them know if what they're paying is too much or they can get a cheaper price.
Right, or if they need to stick it out. Yeah, for sure. We'll be honest about it. If you need to stick it out, we'll tell you to stick it out. You don't need to be jumping around insurance companies either, that often. So, if you've been with a company for not Blanchard, but the insurance carrier, if you've been with American Integrity, let's say, and now you're going to go to Universal, now you're going to go to this other company, there is some loyalty involved with trying to stick it out. So we can move policies, if it's, the same company we work with and service it, we can take over for servicing. There's a lot of options to calling us. Doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're moving your whole insurance policy over. We can adjust coverages. We can make sure you are where you're supposed to be if there are any other options. But we have had recently in the last week 2 major insurance companies pull out of Florida. St. John's Insurance has started non-renewing policies. So there's a lot of listeners out there that probably have St. John's. So give us a call about that. But I've helped a lot of BDMs recently, and I'm about to have to do a big shout out and thank yous on the BDM page because it's a great relationship.
Well,
so
they love
we're
you
grateful
because you're so damn snappy. They ask a question and you're like, bam, like you're right on it, man.
Jamie, on a completely different note, do you think there's any room in the market for any new small insurance companies?
Tom and Dan Insurance? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, no, I'm just, I don't want to get well, actually, I like gambling.
I wouldn't do it. It's enough to give me a heart attack some days, so I wouldn't suggest getting into it.
But do you think that there's any...
Start a small insurance company, one person.
Like, do you think there's going to be any new companies that open up and maybe offer a different way than the standard to do things?
Digital insurance, like Bitcoin.
Yes.
It seems like it's getting out of hand, and then maybe if a new company comes in with a new idea, because insurance is pretty like an old school and they've been doing the same thing.
Can you get insurance on an NFT?
Well, and see, that is the problem because the legislation and your congressman, everybody have to do with this, right? So they were all just up in Tallahassee, the insurance companies and the lobbyists, all lobbying to get the policy language changed to fill in the holes and fill in the gaps for the fraud. And the state is not real quick to help with that. So there are some things in place, but who's the lobbyists? The lawyers. Who's making the 600% multiple? The lawyer.
Right.
So it's not going to happen really quick with the policy language change. Now, we have had some companies come in and make some changes to other types of policies, not just your regular homeowner's policy, but things we can work around, let's say, and where we can kind of extend the age of the roof and, adjust more coverages than normal. So we have had some companies come out with some more workaround type of products, which has been helpful in the last month. So that has opened up some options. But when this happens, you are going to see a lot of new insurance companies come into the state. They get incentivized to come in and take out policies from companies that have gone out of business. And doesn't mean those companies are going to be here for long because they're taking on very risky risks, and they're going to be creamed with the claims, and then they're going to take back off. So if you've had a company, one that comes to mind is Florida Specialty. I had a lot of callers call that had Florida Specialty at some point a year or so ago. It's a company that came in, super low rates, took a whole bunch of stuff, got a whole bunch of claims. Okay, we're out. And then they left.
All
so
right.
it's we work with companies we've worked with for 20 plus years that are Florida based, and we try not to get involved in that other drama from those companies. The KIN is another one, KIN. They're taking on way too much. So any of these companies that ring a bell to the listeners, those are ones that you want to watch out for.
Makes sense.
I know. I saw a new insurance company, and the owner was driving an Escalade with rims on it.
Yeah.
And his license plate, his vanity license plate said water money.
I
trust him. He's from Miami. All right, Jamie, thanks for helping our BDMs out. We appreciate it. And
yes,
hopefully...
and if you're buying a new home, guys, if the listeners are buying a new home, get the insurance quotes before you get to the end of the line. Do it in the beginning of the process. We have done some things recently with some of the Streamline Mortgage clients. Check it early. That's where we see these things get bad, is if they're in the contract and they have their deposits down, and then all of a sudden the insurance is $5,000 and they have to back out. So keep that in mind.
You
all right,
got
Jamie.
it. Hey,
thanks so much.
Thanks so much for being so great to our listeners. We love you, and take care of yourself. Tell everybody
You're
we
welcome.
said hey.
Will do. Bye-bye, guys.
All right, see ya. Dude, it's crazy,
So
man.
sweet.
Imagine, my buddy Turkey Leg's going to have to start paying $10,000 a year, right? In 10 years, he's paid $100,000 for if he hasn't made a claim for nothing.
Exactly, yeah.
And
that's
then,
why I hate insurance so
But
much.
he hasn't.
And
Right?
then-
Didn't he say he hasn't made it?
No,
Yeah,
of course you can't because they'll be you'll be paying But then it's like, well, hold on. I'll just go no insurance and save my $10,000
Can't
a
do
year.
it.
No,
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
A roof is what it costs you
It's a racket.
25. Yeah, I know.
God, I hate
well,
it so
as long as you're allowed to go with no insurance if your house is paid off. And,
Right.
And I know
I got a well for that.
I know. We all do.
we
Just bought one.
I know.
my wife's got a cousin that he's married to his wife's dad has a house on the beach in Melbourne, right? Like literally his
ocean.
backyard is the ocean, right?
Yeah, love it.
He has no homeowners insurance because it's so ridiculous. It's like nearly $20,000 a year, some insane amount. That he just goes no insurance, and every time a hurricane comes close, like he expects one day, because I guess 8 years ago, whatever, some big hurricane just sat off the coast and eroded 50 feet of his yard.
Oh yeah, that's what happens.
And then so if another thing like that happens, another hurricane just starts eroding, it'll erode his entire house, and his house will no longer exist. And he has no insurance on it because he's like, it's too expensive to carry, and so if that happens, that's it.
Yeah.
You lost your house and nothing, you never can get back and nothing.
I wonder
It's
how much
crazy.
of that comes into play if you're in like a townhome, because it would be almost virtually impossible for me to not have insurance, considering the fact that I have other people connected to me.
Yeah.
I would need something in a way to protect them.
You can't, because the whole bill, it's like your policy's written like where everybody's paying into the building.
Sure.
It's something complicated like that. But yeah, it's almost like if your house is paid off at a certain point, you're like, well, I'll go with no homeowners insurance and just take the
I think it would
risk.
depend on my age too. If I'm an old ass man, I'd be like, let it fall in the ocean. I don't care.
But also, you're like, no one's here. The likelihood of a hurricane destroying my house is slim to none. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you got a concrete house, like a hurricane may blow your roof off, but when's the last time that's happened? Hurricane Andrew.
Tracy's saying it's walls in policy. The condo holds the insurance on the actual building, and then they'll assess your ass when damaged. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
You have to have insurance, obviously, but things have gotten so crazy. Like I said, insurance is basically gambling, right?
Yeah.
And
100%.
And it's gotten too far out of whack where you're paying too much for the likelihood of X happening. And really, it's all, and I say Miami as a joke, but it's just scams. It's like everybody used insurance as a scam to get free
there's
everything.
Pockets of scams everywhere. Like Miami would be the East Coast one.
Yeah.
New York would be one of those too, right? I mean, like you just high concentrations of
insurance
tons of
scams
people.
are going on everywhere.
But I mean, like, it's just where the most amount of people are,
Yeah.
right? Like
There'll be
Miami,
higher
the reason
numbers,
it's
for sure.
Miami is because there's just a buttload of people in one area, and if you have some socioeconomic details, you throw those on that, and then boom, you got people scamming.
And I'm telling you, I grew up with the mentality down there that insurance was just to get free. I mean, it was, everybody just talked about it openly, like, oh yeah, insurance, do this. Everything was
like
a
how
scam.
people would use their college money for nothing,
Yes.
like for not college.
We all
Yeah,
know about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, even my wife did that. She took me to Carrabba's on her scholarships. You know, we would go out to,
crazy.
we would go out. She had so many scholarships. Andrea did that. We would go out to dinner and spend money on the mall, spend her scholarship money on it.
Well, that scholarship's different in the fact that like you do student loans, and I knew friends that got student loans, and then would just part.
Using their student loans for not textbooks and not
Yeah,
classes.
yeah, and they just
everybody
use it
did.
to live off
I
that.
can't do that because I'd be like, damn, I'm gonna have to pay that back somehow.
But they just like but it was the mentality. I'm telling you. Like,
Ghost of Manu Bowl in our Twitch chat room, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. He bought a Camaro with his Pell Grant. You bought a Camaro with your Pell Grant?
yeah.
Wow, dude. What year? I want to know that story. That's a great story.
It's like
Camaro?
there's some sort of stat that like if 10% of Americans.
Oh my God, Creep in the chat room bought a motorcycle with his Pell Grant.
Well,
you
God
guys
damn
are
you
animals.
guys.
Like a lot of our system
What
is
kind of
based
motorcycle?
on just people telling the truth and doing the right thing. Like if 10% of Americans like completely lied on their taxes or whatever, some like our entire country would have a huge problem. Start falling apart or whatever because we couldn't generate enough income to sustain ourselves. And it's just based, and we don't have enough IRS agents to make sure everybody's truthful. So it's just like everything's based on the honor system. And same thing with insurance.
There's no honor here, so I don't know what's going on. This is going to fall apart any minute.
It's based on a lot of stuff is based on the honor system.
You got to tell the truth.
You know, and things get out of whack, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, things are way too high, and we're paying way too much.
I'm trying to think if I've ever used money given to me for a specific purpose for another purpose, and I don't think I ever have.
Me either.
I just don't think I'm that type of person.
Well,
I didn't take out any loans either, though.
No, I've never taken out a loan.
Everybody justifies it in different ways. So if you are in poverty and you have insurance and they make you pay insurance, and then all of a sudden some small thing happen, and then next thing you know, some public adjuster comes and like, hey, the insurance agency is screwing you. You need to get like, hey, there's water damage here. We can claim this. You get a new kitchen, whatever. Hey, they're billion-dollar corporations.
Right.
Like,
oh no, for sure.
You know, you have nothing. Like, you might as well get it. And they're like, okay, I'll get. You know, it's like I don't even blame the people that take it because they're like, hey, I have nothing. I've had a hard ass life.
I don't blame them either.
You know what I'm saying? So they take it, and then but enough people do that, it screws up everything, and then the whole system. But the problem is the entire system that they set up was
flawed.
Flawed to begin with. So you're gonna need to fix your damn GD system. So I don't blame her.
I've never heard that before. The old fix the system rant.
Never heard it.
No.
You know, and I don't know what to do, but
nobody
we could
does.
all say that it's screwed up, right?
Yeah, I think they're trying. I would imagine that people are trying to change things in some way. Somebody in the Twitch chat room asked me if I've ever. No, I mean I've got a house loan. I mean that's a loan. I mean I've never taken I've never gone to the bank and asked for a loan. I don't have any student loans. I have my house and I have my car. That's really about it.
I mean, I had $3,500 in student loans only.
That's not bad.
I didn't use
That's
it.
not bad at all.
Yeah.
Most of my friends have like 50, 80.
But I got it so I could pay my rent and sustain myself for the next 6 months or whatever. I got it as an emergency. I didn't get it for school. You know what I'm saying? I got it because that was the only thing I could get at the time, and it was easy, and it was a quick $3,500.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And a lot of people did that, and it's like
I think the majority of people did it that way.
You know, especially when you're in your 20s, you're poor as hell, and you don't have any concept of living till you're 60. You know, who's like, well, this is gonna affect me when I'm 60. You're like, who cares? I'm starving, or I'm like, I need to pay my insurance or my rent.
Like 19, you can't even drink yet, but they're giving you $3,500.
Yeah, I know, right?
And so
crazy interest.
And you're like, I need to pay my rent next month, or
what
I'm going to be
wrong,
I'm
guys?
gonna be screwed up. Yeah.
Wrong?
So it's anyway. No, we don't. It's not a really fun topic, but
you got to do it.
It's
how an adult.
Imagine trying to explain it to a child.
No, blow your brains.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. It's too.
I didn't learn anything about insurance in school. Like. You know, I didn't know anything about homeowners insurance, health insurance, anything. I didn't learn any of that until I had to start doing it on my own. Then trying to navigate it so difficult.
We need to teach way more kids how to adult properly and less. All the information's on their smartphone. Who cares about like a lot of stuff we teach our kids? Like they have their smartphone, they got it right. They can ask anything on Google and it'll tell them the answer.
Well, that was
teach them how to be an adult.
Well, that was my old. He was I guess he would have been social studies. I've talked about him before, Mr. Snow. He's the one that taught us how to do our taxes, and he's the one that taught us how to write a check. He's the one that taught us how to use a deposit slip at the bank.
We need a little updated curriculum, but we need stuff
but
like
I'm just saying, like, at the time, so I'm in, this is like 1991, 92, I get a guy that's teaching me, like, hey, when you're on your own in college, you're going to have to deposit money into your bank because you're going to have a job, so this is how you fill out the slip. You're going to need to know that your account number.
Even how to fill out your W-2 when you get your first job. I didn't know how to do that.
We did W-2, we did taxes, we did deposit slip, we did how to write a check, we did... selective service was one of the, like registering for the draft. That was in there. I'm trying to think of just for the guys, obviously. I'm trying to think of the other stuff we had to do. A lot of that dumb stuff, though. Like applying for how to apply for a credit card, how to, what happens when you take out a car loan. Like what the percentage means.
But I don't
know. Think of how much less debt there would probably be if everyone got educated on all that stuff.
And he was really good about it.
I mean, there would still be people that would do it.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of good apps. I will give it to like the free market, and people have come up with a lot of saving apps and like and apps that help you put all your bills and tell you how much you have left. Like apps that help people organize that stuff.
I bought a new windsurfing board using Acorn.
Yeah, they need that stuff. People like I needed it. I never balanced my bank. I still haven't balanced my bank account ever in my entire life. I don't balance this bank account.
$60 a day, and in 4 years, I bought a pretty decent paddleboard.
But like putting all your
Acorn.
bills, yeah, it gets you into that saving mindset and stuff like
that's nerd stuff. Get a jug. Any coins you have in your pocket at the end of the day, you put them in the jug.
Guitar picks.
Yeah, at the end. Okay, guitar picks and money go to the jug. In 3 years' time, go look at the jug. You have a collection of money and memories.
Yeah. It's
the guitar picks are their memories.
The problem is like technology is advancing so fast that who are you going to get? Some old
too fast.
Like
can't even carry social studies in my pocket.
But like some old social studies teacher is going to teach some high school about like how to, like modern day. He don't even know.
He's dead.
Yeah. Like it's changed in the past 2 years. Like some better app has come up. Like you need to teach people currently. There should just be some universal class that is taught.
Phone
I
class.
bet you can go to OCLS, right?
OCLS.
I bet they have classes for it.
Yeah.
But only if the teacher's like young and hip.
You don't have to force kids to go.
Book boy, is he teaching me my taxes? I'll go.
There's no way I'm listening.
He's too old. He looks great, but he's too old. I want a young.
I think he's younger than us.
No, he is, but I mean, I need a young boy teaching me. I need I need a little more like an island boy. I want him to look like the island boy.
I don't want that guy teaching me.
Also, like I
both
wasn't
of them teaching you one time.
I wasn't responsible at all in my 20s or teens.
Most people aren't.
And I wouldn't have gone.
See, I was. I bought a house in my 20s, so I can't say I wasn't responsible.
Well, I did too, but I mean, irresponsibly, like I bought at the height of the market. No.
Well, what choice did you have?
Well, I guess there was no choice.
And
no one foresaw it. No one foresaw it. But anyway, I made a horrible mistake. Now it wasn't that.
The only mistake you made with that house, seriously. No, I don't think any of it was a mistake. The only mistake you made with that house is painting your yard green. That's it.
Well, I bought it.
What happened
2 years later, it was worth $150,000.
But it had to happen. You have no control over that. You couldn't control the market.
Yeah, I know. But it's like I shouldn't have even. I was no position to even buy a house. Crystal bought it on her Foot Locker income is absurd.
That's pretty impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
That's impressive, man. Shout out to Foot Locker.
She made $30,000 a year.
Champs was the parent company, right? Yeah. Shout out to Champs and Foot Locker for having Crystal buy her first house in referee jerseys. That referee jersey money.
That was the
she closed the house in the jersey.
There was no money. It was the goddamn housing market. Shouldn't have never let her buy a house off $30,000 a year, claiming
if
herself.
I bought your wife the shirt and the black yoga pants, would she wear the one more again?
No.
With a whistle, throw it on one more time.
She
worked her way up to managing that.
No, she never managed.
Oh, I thought she did. That's a hard. No. That's one of the. I can't. Man, if you could though, Forrest Stump, he was a manager, right?
Yep.
That seems
anybody
like
could be a
one
manager.
of the single.
If you want to, you could be a manager.
You don't understand what I'm saying. You don't understand what I'm saying. I'm saying working in a shoe store is ridiculously hard.
No.
I think it would be hard. You both did. You both did shoes. I'm the
hard.
only person in this
I looked around.
that's never done shoes.
It's not
actually quite easy.
Yeah,
I miss it.
I want to do it. I want to do it.
It's easy, but you don't get paid nothing.
Sign me up. I could be a shoe boy.
Inventory. Climbing the racks.
The hardest part are the employees.
That's what I'm saying.
Customers.
The customers.
And the customers and employees.
That's the part I was thinking of.
All the people. That's the hard part.
But the job is, they make it as easy as possible.
Because they know. It's young kids.
I miss
most
that.
Of the time.
You don't get that anymore. I miss going to the department store with my parents and sitting down in a chair and getting a pair of shoes. It was like a thing. It's not a thing anymore. You do it online.
Nah, Mimo still do it.
I liked it when it was
Go to Macy's. They're still there.
No, I'm not going to do it anymore because that ship has sailed. But people will look at me like I'm funny. But I'm just telling you personally, I very much enjoyed sitting down. What kind of shoes? Well, I brought you the sample. I went to the wall. I found the one I want. I'm bringing it to you. You're going to go in the back, come back and tell me you don't have my size. And then I will tell you good day.
I will tell you,
I've done that more times than anything I've ever done.
Shoes are hard to order online only because all the sizes aren't standard. Like I did it with snowboard boots. I needed a bigger boot for my
you've been bruising your toes. That's what Butler told me before he pieced out.
I ordered
boots are too tight.
I ordered the bigger size, too tight. And it was like some new, because they manufactured the new ones a little. Anyway, I was
tighter.
like, oh God, I gotta put this back in the.
Did you return it?
It's probably still in the back of my wife's car. Like she.
You'll just keep buying them until you get the red tops.
It's taking it back to the store. Oh God.
Well, we can't with Amazon. You just file it. Or did you buy it at the store?
No. We ordered it. It's just you have to take it to a freaking.
You take it to a UPS store.
Kohl's.
Kohl's.
Yeah, you go into Kohl's.
Like,
God, going into Kohl's is sad, right? It's a little sad.
Yeah, because you're like, well, you just become
a
Amazon return store. Yeah.
Do they keep any of the stuff and hang it up?
I don't think so.
They
should
ship
it back.
Because I think I would walk through there and look at what people are
returns?
buying. Yeah, I would walk through as I'm returning.
They are having those Amazon's having their own stores that are just returns that are discounted prices, which I think is pretty cool. Pretty cool idea.
Get me some snowboard boots.
It's cheaper than sending it all back. You just
exactly.
Cheaper than the dump.
It's
your idea. It's your old idea.
Although I will tell you, Goodwill has started to become picky on what they'll take, and they will deny stuff now.
Where are we at with Salvation Army? They'll take any old bag. You could
leave
it
by the door.
Vietnam Vets of America will pick it up from your house. They don't go through it. They just box it up. They come pick it up.
Even if
they
it's
leave
trash?
you a little receipt. Yeah.
Oh, so what you do
put
is
it in a box or a bag. They don't go through it. They just load it in the truck.
You put trash on the bottom. You put the good stuff on the top, and they're like, "Here you go, boys."
Yeah, but that involves like planning and going and filling something out. Like I need to get the garbage out of my garage.
No, they just give you a piece of paper and you fill it out and you send it to the government, right?
No, but I mean planning to have them come pick up and all that stuff. Then you have to leave it out front.
You pick a date and they come and get it.
I'm saying I need the garbage out of my garage today.
Well, then just throw it in the garbage.
No, man.
No. We can get rid of it.
Stop lying to yourself. You're not a good person. Just throw it in the garbage.
Wow. How much garbage are we talking? I can help you get rid of this stuff today. How much are we talking?
Oh, my whole garage is now full again.
Okay.
How does that happen?
Well, you got to get rid of
mental illness.
If you get rid of the witch,
I mean, how does anything happen?
If you get rid of the witch, you instantly have 6 feet of more space. So
I can never get rid of that.
You have to start with the witch.
I can't get rid of the witch.
What about the broken four-wheelers?
Well, one's broken.
Okay,
I need to go get it fixed.
Yeah, but
no, I need to save those. But then there's the middle is a whole full
garbage.
What's in the big middle?
There's a telescope.
A telescope?
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Why?
No,
because my wife
he's been hiding secrets from us. He hid the telescope from us because he knew we would telescope shame him.
Yeah. No, I didn't want Crystal buy stuff, and I just hold my tongue because
she bought a telescope for the French witch.
No, she bought a telescope so the boys could do somehow amateur astronomy.
Yeah,
because
all kids love that. You know, it's better than Fortnite. Fortnite is way better than astronomy.
We went out to the backyard one time and looked at the moon. It was too bright.
And burned their eyes.
and then it's been sitting in our garage ever since.
Did you hear about Tom's sons? They burned their eyes on the moon. They had to go to the doctor.
And then every 6 to 8 months, Crystal, while driving, tells me that she wants to sign the boys up to an amateur astronomy course that they're having at the GD Science Center or whatever, where they get on the roof and they teach you how to use your telescope. And I just have to shake my head like, and then I just keep driving because I know it's not gonna. I don't even say anything. What I want to say is that will never happen. Please, let's just punt this in the trash. But thank you. This was a stupid purchase. But I don't. I just
well, do you still have the box for it?
No, hell no.
Okay.
I punted that. I try to throw everything I can away, so all the boxes, so it's everything we have is
well, the
worth
boxes
nothing.
are nice because you can put the stuff back in the boxes and sell it.
Yeah. But I know that
that's what I do.
She's never going to let me sell it because she's holding on to this dream. It's really just about her not wanting to admit that it was a poor purchase.
Well, why do you even have to say that? Why don't you? Because that's the framing that needs to change in order to get rid of it, right? So you need to tell her it was a great purchase. It's just not all great purchases get used. We have to get rid of it.
And maybe it's a great purchase for somebody else.
Yeah, it's a great purchase.
Family.
It is, but it just doesn't fit in. We're too busy. We're too busy of a family unless you want to take it with you on all the adventures you go on. Leave it in the car.
Yeah, you could have brought it on your camping adventure.
Yeah, we could have set it up in the field. And,
no one cares.
No, we would have pushed it in the river.
Also, then she brings up a semi-valid point of like, what about all the other garbage? And your French witch telescope, what else? And then has to sort of like going in there inventorying like, well, this box. And she's like, well, that's yours. And I'm like,
throw it out.
I know. Well, then
so here's how you do it. You have to
fight over whose trash gets thrown out first.
I'm so lazy.
No,
you
have to
lazy.
go 1 for 1. So you throw the witch in there, and then she picks a box of yours and throws it in. Then you pick up the telescope, you throw it in there, and then she picks up a box of yours and throws it. But look, you're getting rid of stuff.
It's true, but it all comes down to this Judgment Day of throwing out stuff.
When are we doing Judgment Day? Let's do it.
It's like there's going to be a big fight, and then it
Make
involves
it like a family thing. So
Yes.
even the kids have to pick out things they want to keep or things they want to get rid of.
This
Everybody's
is the worst
bitching.
hoarder ever because everybody's a hoarder.
Yeah.
It's the worst. I've never
I'm
seen
an
a
hoarder.
full family.
Get rid of everything.
You are.
I
You're a
wanted to
hoarder.
I was about
You're
to
a hoarder. You
call-
go along with it.
I was about to put on the BDM and like take my plants, all of them. I'm done with it.
Oh, he's
Take
freaking
my
out,
I'm
man.
done.
Take my money.
He's
I'm
freaking
done.
out, man. You're done with your plans?
Because I don't have time to water them. I'm done.
Oh,
Get
they're
them the
dying?
hell out of here.
I think it's crazy that you would look at a trash telescope and then freak out and want to throw away all your plants. That's a weird reaction.
Hold on. Concrete Toad said that you tried to give him old leftover fireworks.
Well, I'm trying. I tried, right?
He's trying.
You know what? That's proof that you're trying.
Yeah.
That's leftover fireworks.
Oh, this guy.
Well, we don't, because then all the small stuff, I'm like, let's get this going, let's get it over with,
Yeah,
and then
he's
I don't want to introduce the small stuff again.
Yeah, the
'cause
kids are out there playing with the tanks too long. We don't get to do the mortars. Then we get too drunk.
Yeah. So then I bag up all the leftovers
You know,
for next
Toad's
year.
on your side. If I hadn't heard that, I would have thought you're not taking this seriously. But now that I know you're trying to give away your old stinky fireworks to the Toad, I feel better. We got to get this stuff out of here. So telescope.
I try to give away everything.
Would Crystal not let me buy it?
Well, I'm telling
Put it on my balcony.
She still thinks that
They're gonna use
this
it.
is gonna happen.
What else is in there? Give me some more things that are in there that are unusable.
Oh God!
Bikes?
Now I got a bunch of camping equipment that we tried to give away to our friends. Nobody wanted it because it's old. It was like the old camper equipment from 11 years ago.
Throw it away. We did. I threw a 10 away.
Well,
I felt bad, but I threw it away.
It's good. It
had
like,
holes in it.
Could have given that to a homeless person.
Well, it had holes in it, and I don't want homeless people tent camping in Orlando, so, attractive nuisance. Attractive nuisance.
I'll get that stuff to Goodwill, but then
You want that? You want
Okay.
homeless people?
Okay.
I'd rather them have some shelter than not.
Not if it's in your front yard, you wouldn't. If you look out
They're
there,
not going to be in my front yard.
You don't know that.
I'll tell you one
They're
thing.
crazy, Sam.
I have some sort of old table sewing machine that my
Homeless people could use that.
Well, that my wife wanted from my pop-up had in his house. And the only thing, after he passed away, everybody was like, hey, I told the family, and the family lived nearby. I'm like, hey, take
Crystal to have the sewing machine.
No, I said, take whatever you want. And then Crystal's like, can I have this table sewing machine? And I wanted to be like, no,
old
you
antiquated,
can't.
broken.
But it was like after
You
my
gotta
pop-up
create some
died.
boundaries, man.
Well, it was like, I didn't want to tell her no because she was sad. I was sad. I was just like, yeah, you could have it.
When
So
I
then
die, my ghost will go into the sewing machine.
So I put it into the business storage unit.
Don't! That's mine. Get that ass out of there.
I did get it out of there, but I put it in
I
there.
don't want it in there.
It was in there for 3 years, and then I took it out.
3 years?
Yeah, then I took it out, and now it's in my garage, and it's like some 1920s old.
Oh, God.
And then the sewing machine
the one
is like
that comes out
yes,
of the, I've seen that. My grandma had one of those. Guess what? They're useless.
Yes, I know. And then I have it there, and then I want
Put the witch in front of it.
I'm like, why do we? And she has some sentimental.
Why is your wife collecting old Little House on the Prairie garbage?
But then
She's going to open an antique store?
I have 2 gigantic toolboxes that were my dad's.
Give me that.
And
That's money. That's all money in there, buddy.
no, but it's from the 80s, so they're like not worth anything anymore.
It's just
but,
wrenches with mustaches. It's
but
fine.
I don't even use the all the tools inside. They stink like some dude who like
You got to re-shellac them.
they turn into
They get stinky and they stink.
Yeah, I had
start-
to do that with Trav's uncle's tools.
Start smelling like period panties.
It's gross.
It smells like period
Yeah,
panties.
it's like iron
Yeah.
mixed with some sort of
Fish.
Yeah, it's fish. It's like whose gums are bleeding? It sounds like
It's
someone's
fish
gums
iron.
are bleeding in here.
what are
I don't know.
Anyway,
Fish.
Old shellac.
so that I can
It sounds fancy. It's old shellac.
I can get rid of them, but they're heavy. Oh my God, they're heavy. And then then also it's like they were my dad's. I feel like I kind of want them. So,
Hold on a second. There
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. That's as good as you'll get.
But they're pushed up against the wall.
No, but we
and
got
they're-
it. Did you see that? He goes, but there's a part of me that says those are my dad's and I don't want to get rid of them. That's as good as it gets, guys, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
So then there's a bunch of stuff in the middle, and then I got a bunch
What's
of
in the
stuff.
middle? Hold on.
I gotta go through
your
it. I don't know.
Portabags. You got a whole big thing of really filthy the dirty ones, right? You got a whole Tupperware full of Dirty Macs.
It's probably what most dads go through. Their garage gets hoarded up, and then with a bunch of bric-a-brac and old stuff.
I don't do that.
No, I know, but you're good about. I feel.
I just clean it up, like I just, as I go.
Here's what
Sam doesn't do.
You could throw
your garage.
Other than the grift truck, my husband is OCD organized, so he's got everything.
I bet it looks
put
good.
away.
I bet Whistling Toothpick's got a nice garage. Garage off.
A lot of it is laziness.
Well, we've been busy lately, so it's not immaculate.
When the truck's out, when he gets it back to the Whistling, when he gets it back. Pure Whistling.
I also feel bad about throwing away useful things.
Then you donate.
I know,
you just got to make the time.
There's certain things like
I
told you.
enjoy throwing away useful things and knowing that they're not going to be used by people I hate.
We had 2 kid high chairs for Max and Tommy that were in the business storage unit for the longest time.
Business baby.
Yeah, this guy's using that storage unit. I was on
personal use.
50% of my money going to that. He's got an old.
You're paying for his hoarding.
He's got a haunted sewing machine in there.
So I took.
Was anything from the business in there? Or was it just your personal?
Small.
No.
There's that stuff. There's like 2
Oh,
banners.
that's now in here taking up space.
Yeah,
The 12 by 10.
Stinky old banners.
When's
something.
old Chef BDM coming to get those?
So he's gonna.
Who, Chef Ed's
2
taking
weeks.
those?
Different chef.
Oh,
Anyway,
we have a lot of chefs.
Yeah.
I took the damn high chairs to Goodwill, and they're like, we don't take these. So then I took them back. And
why take them back? If Goodwill takes, if
I felt like someone could use, then I had to put them on the BDM page, and I had to get a BDM. BDM finally took them, but it took that BDM 6 days.
He threw them away. I saw on the BDM page. He's like, we tried to use them. They're garbage. He punted them in the trash.
Just curb alert it. Put it on Facebook.
Yeah, but that involves some sort of you have to put it to the curb, then you have to curb alert, and
that's shorter than going all the way to Goodwill and back.
I know.
There should be a parking lot in Orlando.
You bring a bunch of garbage to.
That you can, if you have things that are not quite garbage, that you can go to the parking lot, not a flea market. I'm not saying it's not unmanned. It's unmanned. And you drive to the thing, and there's little...
Take what you want.
Yeah, and there's little painted squares, and you set all your stuff in the square. Not that it matters, but just for some organization. And you put all your stuff in there, and it's like, look... And then at the end of the day, if nobody takes that stuff,
bulldoze it all.
They bulldoze it all.
Okay.
But there should be something like that.
Yeah. That's called Craigslist.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to monitor it. You see what I'm saying? Like Craigslist, you have to monitor it and answer the people.
But you could also, if you say free for pickup, take a picture, put it on Craigslist, put it out in your front yard, someone will take it.
Ghost of Manu Bull said, I tried to donate a TV to the Goodwill, and they wouldn't take it. They told me too many people, Tom, would donate broken TVs as a way to get rid of them. That was 100% what I was trying to do, so I left the TV behind a burned out
Well, you're the reason they won't take stuff, Ghost.
They'll take your garbage men will surprisingly take a lot if you put it out there. Mm-hmm. And also, if anything's made of metal, the scrappers will take.
Yes. Yeah.
Basically,
they won't take car batteries. They won't take Tupperware filled with car oil or motorcycle oil. I try to once a year. I try to put a car battery with some oil in my trash, and they find it.
Although
how do they find it, Tom?
There's some giant magnet or some device because car batteries were killing the environment.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard. I've never seen proof of it, but I've heard it.
It was leaking stuff into our aquifer, so they have to put in safety mechanisms so people don't throw away.
What's an aquifer?
Yeah.
There's a joke there.
Anyway, bye. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer, is here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm all right.
What's new and exciting?
Besides the tragic news we just heard.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. We heard that the amazing Jonathan passed away I believe at the age of 63.
Yeah.
And we were talking about when we first had him in at the second studio, the studio previous of this one. He was in bad shape,
really
bad, and on oxygen, and then
he had to pull the oxygen. It was one of those conditions where he was shuffling, very weak, had to kind of pull the oxygen along with him, took the oxygen off long enough to do the interview. It was weird.
And he said and during that time, he was like, it was his farewell tour, and then he was selling all his stuff and stuff because he thought he was going to pass away, really any month. He was telling us on the show. And then he did the stem cell research, and then when he came back in...
It was like a year and a half or 2 years later.
A couple of years later, back in this studio, he looked 10 times better off the oxygen and talking about the stem cell.
He looked great, talking about the documentary being filmed and all of that. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then, so whatever treatment he did
worked for a little bit at
work
least.
for,
God, comedians dropping left
5,
and right.
6
I mean,
years.
it's
That's
just
true,
the
yeah.
age thing, right? And it's just a coincidence because, you could say the same thing about musicians. They go through patches. But, man, like Betty White, Bob Saget, Louis Anderson, Amazing Jonathan. I'm missing a couple in there. I know I am.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take.
I guess it just continue to happen. Human beings, they pass away.
Well,
no matter
especially
what.
in that world, too. It is a tough job, and they're
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald.
Yeah,
that's who I
that's
was
the one,
missing.
yeah.
Yeah, there can be some, and then the connection of Norm to like Bob Saget, too, is like very odd.
Yeah.
They're very, very close. But yeah, it's just with that type of job, there comes addiction and maybe not treating your body as well as you should, and that can take a toll, but that sucks.
But
I'm
even beyond that, it's like your 50s and 60s, you're a human being.
Yep.
Cancers happen, heart attacks happen, things that, like that's, what's the average age do you live to? Was 74 as a male? So it's not even that, off if you make it to your 60s or whatever.
God, stop talking about that. I'm 45. Jeez Louise, let's move on.
You're human.
I know. Stop. I'm not a human. I'm a cyborg, baby. I'm a baby cyborg. You want to do emails and voicemails?
Yeah.
Because we are backing up with a great deal of them, unless you want to take this random phone call.
Yeah, take it.
You want to take it?
All right.
It's got to be telemarketer. I just
It's
had
not
some-
even showing yet.
Hello?
They may have hung up.
Emails it is.
All right. Totally not helpful event venue info.
Okay.
Hey, show. You were just talking about event venues near Dirtona. Sam asked if anyone knew of a spot, and Dan said a private beach where you could set up tents and have a cash bar. I have the perfect spot. Kind of. In 2008-ish, my wife and I went to the Doomed Clowns camp over concert in Edgewater. I don't know Doomed Clowns. You guys familiar?
Doomed Clowns,
Doomed
I
Clowns.
believe, is very much like a Slipknot, Marilyn Manson-y kind of, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Excuse me.
It was set up on an island in Intercoastal. We parked at a public boat ramp, and they had a smaller boat ferrying people to the island. It was pretty close, maybe 5 minutes, if that, on one of the boat tops. It was boat access only. They did have power, might have had a generator, not sure, and set up a small stage. Also, they had alcohol, outhouses, etc. It was pretty primitive, though. We set up our tent, went to the concert, which turned into more of an all-night jam thing after, and camped over. Wanted to say we had our son with us also. He would have been like 6. If you guys threw some sponsors behind it, that could be a pretty cool weekend event. Free camping, BDMs, bring your own boats, couple of bands, White Claw beer sponsors, and get some chopper types to set up the stage, toilet, power logistics. Side note, I have zero clue what island this actually was,
No.
or
It
any
looks
details.
a little. I'm looking at Doomed Clowns now, and,
Okay.
and I should have gone ICP. Very ICP.
Clowny, yeah.
You want to hear a little bit?
Sure.
It's Daytona Beach. I mean, here's a little. I like it.
That's not bad,
Oh,
actually.
Punk rock Doom Clowns. All right, Doom Clowns. Shout out to Doom Clowns.
Different sound than I expected.
Yeah.
I like it. Shout out to Doomed Clowns from Port Orange. They are a punk and southwestern band.
I was about to say that had like a melodic punk feel
Yeah,
to
it's
it.
got like a little rockabilly,
Clowny.
bounce to it.
Side note, I have zero clue what island this actually was on and or any details pertaining to who you could contact to find out, and or if the city would actually even be cool with it. Although based on my wife's memory of it being in Edgewater and some Google mapping, I believe it may have been John's Island, south of New Smyrna and Edgewater. Menard May Park has a dock and public kayak launch. Then directly east is John's Island. The north end is
Menard
called
always makes me laugh.
the north end is called Sandpoint and has some center clearing area that looks right. Actually, there are probably way better venues.
Okay, can
that
we
are
pause
actually
for a
set up.
second? I love how specific this is and non-specific.
And then he went
This guy's
backwards.
Giving
He's like-
he's giving us all the details about nothing.
And then, he's like, anyways, there's probably way better venues that are actually set up already and are much easier to get to and use.
I want to give this man a prize because look how long that email is. It's 7 paragraphs, dude.
It's
It's
a lot.
huge.
I like how you started, then you talked yourself out of it.
Yeah, he did.
I love it. I want to give him a prize because there's nothing I
Oh,
love
God.
more than doing something for nothing. You're
Looked
literally
up a map and everything.
Dude worked his ass off for nothing. Got he got to the end of the email, told us nothing.
All to get to the point. He's like, you know what? Now I think about it, it's probably easier just to have it
Yeah.
at a venue that has electricity
Everything
and,
already set up.
and
Yeah, I'm
sells
gonna go-
alcohol and
I'm just gonna go listen to Doomed Clowns.
how about that? Go to this island, figure out how to get power, water, get all the outhouses
Sounds
over
very
to it.
Fire Festival-y,
Just even
right?
get your the listeners over there would be a trick.
Start ferrying, we'll get some listeners with pontoon boats to ferry listeners over.
God.
And then if they,
That's dangerous as hell.
and then we'll have, we'll get some sort of permitting to sell alcohol.
Yeah, just having
Kids
water
allowed.
there is dangerous. Like people fall face first dead.
Like you just described the hardest event I could ever think of doing.
I also like it.
Insane.
I may have the perfect spot. Maybe.
Get all
On
the
second thought, never mind.
get all the stage rigging. I'll call Ben from Orlando Bands and be like, hey,
he wouldn't do it.
hey, you got it first.
Find this remote island.
Get your rigging.
Where's your boat at?
Get the
No,
truck.
no, turn left. I'm standing outside holding a flashlight in the
Start
air.
loading all the stage pieces.
Falls into the
a
ocean.
pontoon
And
boat.
all he has is
Salty.
a bunch of little goth interns, those cute little goth interns he has running around. He's got like little boys with long hair that their dream is to be like a roadie.
Stagehand,
Those poor kids are swimming the equipment across.
And then for sure, like, you can camp here. People are setting up tents and burning, cooking their beans. And like, people are just wanting to swim back. Because we're like, where are the boats? And people are like,
they left already.
Our generator's out of gas. Doom Clown's acoustic.
And people are swimming back to the cars. There's a tugboat coming across Intercoastal.
It sounds great.
That actually makes me laugh. This sounds awesome.
The porta potties
back
get
in.
full like the camping trip.
Oh, the camera to the porta potties, he was almost touching my butt.
My wife
I
is
would've just went
vomiting.
in the woods.
My wife. That's what she went in there and she started vomiting because she
I did
smelled
tell
so bad.
Andrea that we have some babies now because people cannot, like, they don't know how to shut their nose off. I told Andrea, I go, we had multiple grown adults that would come out of the porta potty puking, and I'm like, you can't shut your nose off?
It was.
You breathe through your mouth.
It was baking in the heat, and it was doo-doo crazy.
How did the kids do with that?
Maisie doesn't care.
Yeah,
I mean,
the kids
think it's
can-
funny. Like, Maisie starts laughing. She's like, it smells like acid in here. Acid? How do you know what acid is?
My sons had to use my boat toilet because they couldn't.
my
Oh, you didn't talk about that. You're
God.
going to talk about that on Friday?
yeah,
About how you had to...
I'll talk about it on the BDM show because I got a couple stories about camping. But anyway,
Let me get a voicemail for you guys.
people do this all the time where they just and it's not their fault. They just forget that the
logistics of events are over people's heads.
People get in love with an idea, and yes,
We do that too, and then we're like, this
Yes.
is going to be too much.
The idea of us doing an awesome event, like, could you imagine this? We're on the beach. There's a stage. Cashed Out is playing to a bunch of people. And there's a beach right there. It's like sunset.
Sounds amazing.
And then the people White Claw and stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Right.
To get that happen is damn near impossible.
It is.
And the logistics would take a year of planning and be like the margins of error are so razor thin that calamity would
It gives me
happen
anxiety
for sure.
just talking about it.
Yeah. So like if we were able to pull it off, we would have to stop doing the show and just work 100% of the time on trying to figure out how to make this happen, how to raise the fund, how to the sponsors to pay for Cash Out, all
insurance.
the insurance. Like because one person dies,
multiple people would die if it was happening. It wouldn't be one.
We're sued out of existence. We're no longer a show. Like
we'd be the Dan and Tom show. You have
switch
to.
it up.
I don't think they can do that anymore. Anyway.
They changed it?
I think that just changing your LLC doesn't really work.
I've been riding on that for years.
Yeah, no.
All right.
It should though because
you know what? I'm gonna
Find a
pretend.
workaround.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that last part.
Yeah, lawn maintenance companies they do it all the time.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
We're as big as them.
Let's go with this voicemail right here.
So I walked around a very, very fancy mall today. In fact, it's in Beverly Hills. And I wore a velour Sergio Tacchini tracksuit. That's very important. That's a very important detail. And had a venti pistachio latte with only one shot of espresso and no whipped cream. And 10 milligrams of diazepam and dark sunglasses and a lot of cash in my pocket. Didn't buy a thing except a Chick-fil-A sandwich and a milkshake on the way out. But Dan, it's a good plan and a good time.
I told you it's a good vibe. You gotta get
diazepam. Isn't that like a
it's a
a
good
downer?
it'll make you
a barbiturate.
it'll melt you.
Yeah.
I've been telling you guys for
You
years.
said pain pill.
What
though.
was with that?
I like the pain pill. I usually like to get a little faster, not a little slower. But hey, whatever's your choice.
Yeah.
It's basically Valium.
Yeah, it'll melt
What was
you.
with the voice, though?
I don't know, but I think
Thought it
that's
was
what
Sam
happens.
Elliott at
I think that's
first.
what happens when you're like Valiumed out and you're chilling. Yeah. See, the guy's, he's my new favorite caller. I like that
What
guy.
do we call him?
Mall man. He's mall man.
Diazepam Danny?
He's mall man.
There are a handful of BDMs that are rich, and I see them everywhere. Like,
But they're really rich. They're like,
Yeah, I know.
like
I know.
Our rich
Disgusting rich
listeners
are-
are disgusting rich. They're not. We got listeners that have play money, like silly, like they'll buy a flying tube that costs like $1,000 and then knife it and not bring it home with them on vacation. You know what I mean?
Isn't there
wasting money?
There's some BDM that took a picture of his Lambo or something he just bought, or some sort of supercar, right? Like he's like, look at my new toy, and then some
Oh, I
listener
didn't
bought a yacht recently.
I didn't see that when I saw the yacht.
Yeah, some BDM bought like, and it's a yacht. It's not like a Jeff Bezos yacht.
It's a big boat.
Yeah, but it's a.
I mean, if you have a yacht, you have a little money.
Yeah, it's a 50.
Yeah.
You know, it's got multiple rooms. You could sleep inside. And you can
It
go to
will
the
only
Bahamas
be
and no
used
problem.
less than 8 times this year. I know that.
But it's like to buy. I mean, that's how much is that? 380, 450,000. Something like
Yeah.
that. And I'm just surprised by it. I'm like, it seems. I don't know what it is. It's odd to me if you're richer, like say you're richer than the whole show, and you're listening to someone that is.
Yeah, why are you listening to poor people tell your stories?
Yeah, I don't know why that it doesn't compute in my head. Like I always think
Because
that
we
you
have
should
something
listen.
they can't have, which is influence.
But we do the other thing, right? Like I listen
They
to
can use their money to
I
have
listen to
influence.
people that are richer than me that do podcasts.
Yeah,
But
no,
you
but
don't
that's how
let
it's
us.
supposed to be. That's what I'm
it?
saying.
Yeah,
like you
that's
listen.
the correct way to listen. You're supposed to listen up.
Yeah.
Listen up.
Yeah. Like
Supposed to listen up.
Listen up. Like
That's why they say listen up. You
Never
idiots.
knew that.
Yeah, well, now you know.
I just always assume people listen to someone
No.
more rich or famous than they
I do.
were.
I don't listen to us.
And then
I don't listen. I certainly don't listen to you guys.
instead of listening down, I can understand listening parallel. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But listening.
Well, I think most people, when they go in listening, or they start
Are they
listening parallel.
Are they listening to laugh at us instead of with us?
Yeah, I guess maybe it's like
could.
a Jennifer Schmuck scenario.
Right.
I thought
but
you
there's
said
a lot of-
Jennifer Smucks. And I was like, who is that?
She's hot.
But you forget there's a lot of rich trash. Like primarily,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
more
Those are
rich.
my favorite, though.
Rich trash is more prevalent than fancy trash.
Yes, I love
Or,
rich trash.
sorry, rich fancy.
Rich
Yeah,
fancy.
we knew what you meant. We
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah. We got it.
Yeah.
Because
but-
we're rich trash.
there's a
Not
lot
really. I'm not rich, but I'm trashy.
of yeah. But I'm just saying, like you could buy a yacht or a Lambo, or like I know some other the guys that own
Well,
big
most of
companies.
these
and you're
influencers,
like a millionaire.
I would argue that there's been a high concentration of trash buying supercars because most influencers that I follow, at least, I'm not saying across the board, if they're like a young teen boy that's an influencer, like a Dude Perfect or a
any of these guys,
a Ninja or
Mr. Beast, all those.
Yeah, I think those guys are trash and they buy supercars. I'm not saying they're
Yeah.
bad people, but they're trash.
they flaunt and waste a lot of money.
Correct.
Yeah, because they got it.
And they like
Right.
Mountain Dew and Cheetos, like me, and that's trash.
We've got to get to the bottom of Mr. Beast and what's
Bothering
whole
you,
thing.
isn't it? No, Mr. Beast bothers me, but not for the reason
I just
you
don't
think.
understand
Mr.
how.
Beast bothers me because of his teeth size.
Never noticed that. Like I couldn't even
Can't
honestly.
unsee it now.
I can't even pick him out of a lineup. Like I've seen him
He
multiple
looks
times.
like a normal dude.
No, I know, but it's like if you told me like, hey, there's 5 white dudes, which was Mr.
Yeah, I
Beast,
don't
I
think
could
I could
could
either.
not tell. There's nothing distinguishing really about him, like a normal white dude. But I don't understand. Like
He looks like an IT guy.
the amount of money he gives away and wastes, I just want to learn the business behind it and find out is it calculated to the point where this got donated and he's doing it to promote like Lamborghini brand, or like, I don't know. It's like he's giving a Lambo away. It's like, is that make business sense to do that? It seems like an insane amount of money that he gives away. I don't
Seems to
know.
be doing fine.
Yeah,
though.
I think
know,
I think
I
it's
know.
all
Business
built in.
model works.
Yeah, I think it's all built in,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that's where he excels. Is I think he's mega smart, and I think he's a smarty pants. So he knows exactly what he's doing.
The only reason, because I used to be like, oh, all these guys know. And then when I dive into it a little bit, I'm like, oh man, it's less. They know less than I thought. And then I talk to other people that know these people. Like I talked to like Busey's camp that knows all these influencers.
He
or
gets
whatever.
a lot of them rolling through for sure, and still does.
But I talked to some of them, and they have, and they tell me like, oh, they don't know. It's a flim fan. Like this was just a sham of an operation of a bunch of dudes, and there's some grifty manager that just hangs.
The thing that sort of makes me laugh about, not laugh because I don't like seeing people fail or anything like that, but it just makes me maybe laugh a little bit about how everything is the same and it's cyclical and nobody's unique and everything's in the same level of patterns. Is that, for instance, I think maybe I've mentioned this to you guys before, but Epic Mealtime, those guys.
Yeah,
there's a gentleman on YouTube that I follow. I forget the guy's name only because he has like one of those weirdo new names where it's like A652B. I hate that. Just give yourself a real name. There's my dumb old man statement. Just give yourself like Stan 55. Give you at least something I can point at. But this guy goes on to do a bit of a documentary about the Epic Mealtime guys. And it is no different than any radio show, any television show, from the beginning of time until now, where you get the guys, one guy has an idea, and it all crumbles because of egos. You got one guy that's making all the money, the other guys want to make more money. It's just, it's exactly the same. So when I look at them, like their show, Epic Mealtime, now it's an older show now, right? That thing's like 20 years old now, 15 years old at least. It's not successful as it once was. But it followed the same path as any radio show or TV show or anything else that has a shelf life and burns itself out. So when I look at that, I'm like, oh, well, of course, this is no different. It's just we're consuming it a little bit differently. The stream is the radio, is the paper, is the pencil. It's all the same garbage.
And there's no standardization to any of it because it's all independent.
Yeah, it's independent.
And then even if they hook up with some marketing agency or some sales agency to help them or manager or whatever, they still do things in their unique way.
Right.
So it's odd that everybody's doing it differently.
And they are.
Yeah. And it used to be like you'd have to sign up or be paid by a giant conglomerate, a media conglomerate.
Like there are guys that are doing it real. There are guys that are doing it completely scripted, where they hire actors to even be in their sketches. So you're watching something and you're thinking that this is literally like this guy's an influencer. And when you think of that, you think, oh, this guy sits in his house, and when he thinks of a great idea, he goes outside, he shoots the shot on his GoPros or his equipment, his digital SLR, any of that, he edits it. But no. He's got actors he brings in. He's standing there on set. They film it. He's got a team of people that films that. He's in meetings. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even what we think it is. What they're even selling, that charm of like, oh, he's just doing it in his bedroom. Oh, I love these Mr. Beast videos. He's so cute. None of that.
He's got a whole production team.
He's a bad example. But even the people you don't think it, they got people behind the scenes that we're the only schmucks that do all the work ourselves.
Well, like a camera guy and
a
videographer to follow you around is not that expensive. Like even if you're paying a good one,
it's an investment, sure.
$50,000 a year. But if you're making $10 million, who cares? But of course, if you're making $10 million a year, you got a videography company.
Yeah.
That you're paying $100,000 a year, and they're doing all the editing and all the stuff for you, and that kind of thing. So you the same thing with like Ryan's World when he used to be.
His mom went to jail for shoplifting.
Are you serious?
Earlier on, I mentioned that
before.
I mentioned that to Maisie this morning. We were talking about Ryan's World. I was like, "You still watch that?" She's like, "Nah, not really. It's for baby butt." And I'm like, "Did you know that Ryan's mom?" I said this to her. I said, "Did you know that Ryan's mom went to jail?" Or was arrested for stealing?
Was she like a teen or something like that?
I don't think so. I think she was an adult. You can look it up, Sam.
I mean like 18, 19, like young kid that you go shoplift.
I don't know the particulars of it. I honestly don't. I just know.
Once jailed for shoplifting $93 worth of clothes from a JCPenney's.
Yeah, the panache, JC Panache.
I knew a lot of kids that used to do that back.
It doesn't make her a bad person. I'm just like, I said it to Maisie, and she's like, "What's shoplifting?" I'm like, "It's stealing." She's like, "Oh, that's bad." Like, yeah, don't watch that show. She's a terrible person. That's a fun little con, right? To do with my daughter. It's a fun little con. Now she'll think that Ryan's mom is a horrible person.
It's like what
am I doing? You want to do another email? You got one?
Sure.
Because I got a voicemail loaded, but let's do an email first.
Tom's assumptions on sex. I've been listening to Tom preach from his one-woman pulpit about his conviction that all women need emotional connection to be sexually aroused, and I'm tired. Just stopped the most recent Dan Cummins episode where Tom pontificates about the VR experience and how it offers the, quote, connection that women need to be aroused, in contrast to men who are purely visual idiots.
He's not talking about every
broad
single one. Broad strokes. Broad strokes.
I know. I realize that there's women out there that are, I mean, everybody's different.
Thanks for the idiot qualifier. I felt smarter and less dependent on the feelings I'm guaranteed to catch because I had sex as a woman. I watch porn daily, all different kinds. I'm not desperate, ugly, or whatever else would be convenient to assume. If I'm not in a relationship, I can have casual sex and enjoy it without any emotional connection or attachment. I know Tom loves to attribute every human behavior to biological instinct, but when you add humanity, i.e. conscious choice, into it, it's just not that straightforward. Saying this for a friend.
Oh, good for you. You're different than everybody else. So what do you want me to say? Like, I'm just saying broad statements. I realize.
Hey, who you calling broad?
I realize
She's
that
mad.
not everybody falls
And
into
you
one
weren't
category.
saying that for a friend. You were saying that for yourself. So now you're a liar.
But I know if you sat you down on the couch and I asked you, what are the majority, like, what do you think the majority of women, how do you think they are? And, I think I'm correct in that statement.
I agree with you, but
I think you're not. I mean, I think there's a lot of women like you, but I don't think the majority of women watch porn every day.
No.
I don't need no
They
emotional
don't,
connection.
They don't. But we're in a weird spot in the world where if you say, even if it's right, even if you say most women don't watch porn daily,
they're like, not me. You're an idiot.
People immediately want to start yelling at you and say, well, that's not true. And it's like, but I just said, yes, you're correct. I said most women.
I think also the argument here is that that's also a misconception. I don't know that most women aren't like that. I think it's not talked about a lot. But like think about like someone said in the Twitch chat like about like how popular like the 50 Shades of Grey stuff is, or like even the mild Bridgerton stuff or whatever blew up because I think people are getting more comfortable, especially women, talking about what they're into, and and a lot of times it is visual stuff, and it doesn't have to be a connection.
You're absolutely correct, but where my mind goes and why. This will make more sense, I think, to people. When we say the phrase, or when Tom Better says the phrase, most women are emotional. I think you're meaning 51%. And I think that's true. I don't think you can say, I think the statement
49% of women is a lot.
Yeah,
nearly half.
I think it is incorrect to say 51% of women watch porn daily. That's not true. 49% of women watch porn daily. Again, that's not true.
Yeah, but it could be, but I'll bet, it goes down to betting. I'll bet money that 51%, more than half,
that's
what I'm saying the majority is.
I'm trying to get them to understand when you say most, that's what you mean. You're leaning all to one side, yes.
And then same thing for men, probably more than half are more visual and, that kind of thing.
But
the stereotype.
I'm glad that she's like that way. That's cool. I knew some girls. Trying to think, when I was in college, I knew a couple girls that were more like your traditional stereotype dudes when it came to just like, I'm going out and I'm going to get laid hard.
And that's what I want.
Yeah.
And I don't really want any thing else from the person.
Correct. Yeah, that's out there for sure.
100%. And there could be 49%, but I think 51 or the other,
Well, whatever. You'd be debating this all day. Because, again, we're at a time right now where people want to say, well, I'm different. And, okay, you might be. So am I. I'm a complete weirdo. Look, I say I'm different for almost everything anyone asks me. I'm a little weird about it, right?
Yeah. So. Well, me too.
No, you can't do that one. That's for the ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, you can't do that one. All right, let's do this voicemail right here because I think you're going to dig it.
I just want to say thank you, Dan, for mentioning the new Limp Bizkit album. I liked Chocolate Starfish and Hot Dog Water, or the first album. Didn't like them after that. My word, this new album is you are 100% right. And funny thing is, their song "Don't Change" has come up in my rotation for just on Spotify for random music when I'm at work and I don't have time to look at who's playing. I just listen to it and I liked the song. Didn't know it was them.
There you go. People are just finding out that the new Limp Bizkit is very good.
I saw a lot of posts about that, and it's,
I see I'm going to get heat because, again, we live in this time where if I say the new Limp Bizkit is very good, everybody's like,
Well, it's opinion, yeah.
What do you think very good is? You're an idiot. I'm like, hold it, because
Very
everybody
good.
wants to be angry all the time, and I don't. If you are looking for Limp Bizkit styled music, may I suggest their newest album, because it's very much like the albums you fell in love with. That's what I probably should have said. So if you like the album that had Nookie on it, you can put this album on right now. And with you'd have to try and find like an edited version, and you could play this Dad Vibes song all day long, right?
Check out your dad with the swag on the floor. Mama gon' brag when I walk in the door. Y'all ain't never seen a gorilla in the mist walk the line so fine with a blindfold.
Come on, man. It's an old school Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Interesting that
Take me back.
Limp Bizkit has like a resurgence, and I were able to become relevant again. And
Yeah,
at
but
least
only
to-
mildly.
Yeah, I think
you know what I mean?
mildly.
Only
But
the people
still,
who actually enjoyed them
for like
anyway.
Sam and I.
Yeah, they're not.
a whole-
Teens aren't listening to Limp
No,
Bizkit.
no, but they don't want teens. They want the generation
Right.
that used
That
to
grew
listen
up
to
on
them.
them,
The 35 to 45-year-olds,
Yeah.
that listen to them at a certain time. And there's a lot of guess what? Who the Super Bowl is marketing to? Like that's where the people have money. So Limp Bizkit recognized, like, hey, we could come out with another album that people consume, and the people consuming it have money to pay for the download.
Yeah, let me ask
the
you.
teens aren't going to pay for it.
Let me ask you a Super Bowl halftime show question, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Let me see how much time we have here. I don't want to mess things up, but I've been thinking about this a lot, and what got me thinking about it was actually the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. They always get like some big time producer or somebody like huge representing that particular country to come in and do like the presentation, the opening ceremonies. And they got this particular guy, I'm blanking on his name, but he's like a big wig in China, and he and he did an excellent job. Why don't we do it that way? Instead of picking an artist, why don't we go and find, so for instance, wouldn't everybody sitting here trust if I said, hey, this year's halftime show is Steven Spielberg's got it, he's doing it. This year's halftime show is Guy Ritchie's got this year's,
Like a movie director to do it?
yeah, why don't you get somebody who has a vision instead of getting like a musician who is there for the music? You get somebody who's going to put on the show. I'm not saying those guys are movie producers. That's a bad example. I'm saying, why don't you get a guy that's known for putting on like the Emmys, the Oscars, a big spectacle.
Or any
David
big live
Copperfield
show.
making
I'm sure they do.
the Statue of Liberty disappear. But why isn't there one guy that said like, and then he goes, you know what I'm going to do this year? I'm going to do, it's all about the 90s. I'm going to pull in Sugar Ray. I'm going to pull in Britney Spears. I'm going to get the insane. And he puts all the pieces together and then presents the show for Pepsi. That sounds like a better deal to me than going to a musical artist and putting it up to I don't know how it's put together, but I thought this one, as good as this one was, I thought it could have been better.
They may have done that, and the fact, I mean, I don't think, was it Dr. Dre that put together the visual of the white apartments and then the cityscape underneath and I think someone else
did all the
Hamish Hamilton.
Who was it?
Hamish Hamilton.
He sounds super famous.
Right? I don't
He's
know.
the
That's
producer?
a great name.
Yeah, that's a great
He's a
name.
British director.
Yeah, I was just wondering who they got to do it, or if they do that. Okay, obviously they do that. I'm an idiot.
Oh, wow. He's been doing it for a long time.
So he just gets employed by the
halftime
NFL,
show. Yeah.
and then they probably have 2 or 3 in the
He also
future.
has done a lot of music videos. Beastie Boys, Rammstein, Spice Girls.
Oh.
Yeah, he's
Very
done
cool.
a lot.
Like
There you go.
They probably started practicing the halftime show for this coming next year.
6 months before?
I mean,
A year before?
I mean, last year for sure, probably. I wonder
Yeah,
how.
I think they're like a year out, right?
or maybe even more. I mean, it's like kind of like something. Halloween Horror Nights is
He's
bigger.
been doing the
but-
halftime show since 2010,
Okay.
directing it.
Interesting.
So he probably uses.
He's locked in, I guess.
I wonder who conceptualizes it and how they shop that out. See, that's the fascinating thing to me. Is it like, do they, okay, this guy might be in charge of putting the thing together, but they might go to independent houses and bring them in for like the visuals.
Oh, the set production.
Remember
like,
when we were getting the Orlando City Stadium mapped by that 3D company and how many little hoops and things we had?
yeah.
We never got it off the ground because it was just too hard.
Plus, think about the logistics of each stadium. So, like this year, or
Where is it?
2023 is in Arizona. So
that's right.
they got to make sure, all right, what do we work with in Arizona? What
Size-wise,
staging,
yeah.
how can we get, because they got to set it up. Everybody talks about, have you seen the videos of them setting it up, like people and the Super Bowl, whatever? I saw it on TikTok. Just like
It's crazy. The time lapse?
how fast they can set up
It's
the
nuts.
halftime show and that whole, that.
Do you know who?
It's crazy.
Do you know who was instrumental in a lot of the equipment that they use for those type of shows?
No.
Wrestling. Because they've had to load in and load out epic proportions, and they've been doing it for so long and doing territory shows. Well, I mean, you could almost say like 100 years now.
Their guys are super fast and efficient.
They can put up a ring and a stage and light rigging and pyro and rip it back down in a matter of minutes. It's insane.
Can we, as a society, get over the fact that they have to lip sync at the Super Bowl because there's no
I'm
way
cool
to
with
do
it.
it?
I know. Why are people still surprised about
They're
that?
like, look at
I'm
Eminem.
totally
He's
cool with
He's
it.
lip syncing. It's like, yeah, they have to do that. They're in a huge stadium.
Yeah, there's
and
delays.
They
it's
want it to look
impossible.
good.
Yeah, and the people watching are more important. There's more people watching than
For the spectacle of the show.
But that's
and the
my
actual
goal
noise.
this year is to be more reasonable. Seriously, my goal selfishly is to be more reasonable. I look at that, they're lip syncing. I'm like, that's fine, that's cool.
It's also, there's no other choice.
What are you supposed to do?
You can't do it live because of the sound in the stadium and the way they broadcast. So this is the only option. So just get over the fact that this is happening. Eminem could rap. He's proven it. He's good.
Proven.
He's really good.
He's not testing it out.
So he doesn't need to prove how good he is at the Super Bowl. We know he's good. He has to do it.
Sort of related, and I will get if you could get another email, we'll load up another one of those. But sort of related, we had a BDM that was bartending last night for one of Kanye's album release parties in Miami.
Oh yeah.
I thought it looked really cool. I know that everybody hates on Kanye, but it looked like a burned out church, and then he had the whole floor was water, and he was dressed up in all black, and he had I think he had Alicia Keys come on stage, and Rick Ross was a guest, and then he brought in different people, and I think it's cool. I don't know what it is, but I think it's cool.
He is just manipulating the media to get attention.
I'm not saying
this guy.
I don't root for him. I'm not saying I think he's a wonderful human being, but I enjoy whatever he's doing. For the most part, I enjoy it. Like the idea of him selling that little player that, remember, Andrea said I couldn't buy, that has his new Donda 2 on it. He can make, if all he had to sell is I forget the math that somebody did. I think it was Snoop put up a meme that Kanye would only have to sell 2,500 of those in order to make a couple $1 million in a matter of 24 hours. He was just showing how brilliant the guy is.
He's the Banksy of rap. Right?
Pretty much. And now he is, I guess.
Because he understands promotion, he understands the media, manipulating the media, doing things in the sake of what's art now that Kanye is the way he's acting that could be lumped into his art. His own personality, all his actions, everything he does on social media. He could lump that into his art.
Well,
he's that's my art.
Christine has a good
this
opinion.
This is my entertainment.
Christine in our Twitch chat room has a decent opinion. She says, excusing harassment and abuse as a gimmick is not cool. I can agree with you, but I don't know who's in on it and who's not in on it. I don't know what's happening. I'm not in that family.
If you're watching professional wrestling, are you watching people commit crimes? Because they're punching each other, they're slamming each other.
No idea.
That's assault. That's assault and battery. So
until perhaps Kim brings out an injunction against him or some type of
criminal
legal ramifications, then you're saying we don't know, this could all be fake, right? That's what you're saying.
Could. There's a chance, and I wouldn't put it. It's not like if it was any other person than Kim Kardashian, I would have been maybe it is real.
He has done this before though, with Amber Rose and stuff.
True.
I remember that. Yeah.
But it's how do we know that they weren't in on it or whatever?
We know.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know enough about this, his life or whatever.
I just hope it all calms down soon, right? Did his album come out yesterday?
Well, the bad parts, right? I mean, do I support what he's doing and
whether
acting
it's real
out?
or fake,
No,
it's all terrible.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
I guess
it's entertainment that he's putting out, and that's what I'm saying. It could be part of his art, and he could be justifying it. This is all people are watching it, they're talking about it, whether it's making them feel a certain way. Right, you could he could be a crazy artist that thinks everything he does is art, and even though
there are plenty of people that queef on poster board or paint with their genitals who say that that's their, you know what I mean?
And he's proved it by making $1 billion. That's all. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that this is all for nothing. It's like it's all generating a tremendous amount of revenue. So that even further leads me to believe that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Christine brought up the part where, and I went back through and did a bit of a deep dive last night, actually, because knowing that his album is coming out, I went and looked at the things that he was saying about Skeet, as he calls him, and yeah, that's where he lost me. You know, when it started becoming like when he was saying, you know, make sure you scream in Skeet's face, Kim Ye forever or whatever. You know, he's actively kind of telling his guys to do things, and then he had to call them off because maybe he flew a little too close to the sun. That's the stuff I don't. You know, he loses me there. But if he wants to do strange promotion for his album and all this, you know, crazy stuff without hurting other people, I'm all for it. You know, just don't hurt other people.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what these people have worked out and what they've agreed to, you know, who knows?
Guess the question is it sick that we like it? Is it sick that we watch it?
Well, that's the thing.
Yes.
The people are consuming it.
Yeah.
And the reason why everybody's talking about it, I don't know all the details, so I could be saying a lot of ignorant stuff I don't know. But people consume it, so therefore it's a form of art to me, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, so I don't know. It's like this whole drama's happening, and this Kim Kardashian's made her entire career out of drama and her own personal drama. I don't know how much was real. I come from a world of radio, and they were faking all that drama.
And I think it's important for people to know that, too. Like, the world that you and I come from
and some of it was real, and some of it was not borderline real. And that's the problem. Like, some of this could be borderline real, too.
Right, we've done this before where we have taken real-world events within our own lives and shows that we've worked for, and we've woven them into the fabric of a stunt where we've exaggerated real-world things in order to get people to feel the drama more.
Yeah.
It was real drama. We just accelerated the drama.
Yeah.
That's a real thing that real entertainers do in order to, it's almost like a place of comfort, and it's a lot easier to sell something that's actually happening than it is to lie.
Yeah. And then, but how much it actually is affecting you, that could be the exaggeration, right?
Correct.
So it's like...
and for some people, there's a gray area there. Some people, there's not. Some people are living the real thing. Some people are not.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, you want to... And then that's what I'm saying. Like, Kim Kardashian is the best there ever was at this.
She is.
And so... because she's involved in a little way.
She's still in the game, too. Paris Hilton used to do this, but she out of the game. You know, she's just kind of doing her business thing now.
Yeah, and that's what, and then you
no longer manipulating the messages out there. You know, she's just kind of made her money doing her thing.
So it's like when Kim Kardashian calls the paparazzi and tells them where they're going to be or what's going on so that they can film it, and then comes out and mad and or whatever it is. It's like all part of this thing that in the entertainment media, it plays into it, and they love it because it makes them more money. So they'll do whatever it takes to keep doing it. So when it's what's real, what's exaggerated, what are we, like? I've always leaned towards everything's exaggerated to the point of it's not real anymore.
What is Christine saying here? I'm trying to follow her. She says, but there's that gray area between your lives and your radio lives. And then she says, so when you tell Sam to take off her pants and when a listener gropes her at an event, they are two vastly different things. Well, of course, because telling someone to take off their pants and then touching somebody are vastly different things. Right. Why would those even be the same thing?
Yeah,
I'm missing your, explain it to me. What am I missing there?
She is...
A lot of listeners like to feel like they're a part of the show, right? So when they hear jokes about things like that or about my boobs or whatever, they think that there's no boundaries, almost as if they're part of. I'm not blaming you guys.
No, I
all,
understand what she's comparing it though to Kanye telling people to actively do things.
Right.
That's way different.
Yeah.
That's a bad example. We've never said anything like, "Hey, when you see Samantha out, do X." That would never come out of our mouth.
Hell no.
So that is a poor example because that's the example of what Kanye did to Pete. Way different. Way different.
And then also, there has to be some sort of agreement between us and anybody in entertainment and the people consuming that entertainment that what they're watching may not be 100% real.
Yeah, but what we're saying is that people are dumb.
But that's can't be on the entertainers. Then you take away. It does,
though, a little bit, because you have influence, and you know you do.
But there's a line there to what, because then you have to be accountable.
It's like Charles Manson didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, but he
had influence, though.
He convinced someone to kill someone.
Right.
That's different.
What we're saying. What Kanye's doing is dangerous, is all we're saying.
Well,
whether it's real or not, because people don't know how to separate that. Is
yes.
the point.
No, I understand that.
So if something does happen, whether it was real or not to him, it's real to his fans. Is he not going to be held liable or responsible?
No,
for
I
that could be on it. I mean, it depends on how much.
I'm just saying the example that was used about us saying "take your pants off," or if I say something about Tom or something about somebody here.
Again,
that one got me because I think that's just a poor example, and I don't want to ever be framed like I've said something on here to actively make people treat you a certain way. That's not what we do here.
Also, there's a weird line of people don't know what's real and what's not, even to the point where I had someone in front of Cactus Bob's one time tell me that Vince McMahon was just killed in a limo explosion, and he 100% believed it, and he's like, it said on the news, bro, he was dead. And so, and that guy believed that what was happening in professional wrestling was real, right? Is it professional wrestlers' fault? Like, what if that guy went and killed Hacksaw Jim Duggan? I don't even probably know. Stone Cold, because Stone Cold's the one that planted the bomb.
I know what you mean.
And then is it WWE's fault that they led this person to believe that another wrestler killed and his beloved Vince McMahon?
They're not telling him to go kill Stone Cold, though.
Exactly.
Kanye's telling you.
What if they're like, oh, you killed? Like,
well, the Kanye one is different because it's real people, and
Yeah.
that's what I understand. He's also giving them a task. He's like saying, "Hey, go execute this task I'm giving you." That's what it starts to get real sketchy and weird.
I'm not defending Kanye West. I'm just debating or questioning whether it is all 100% legitimate. We're watching reality or watching some version of an exaggerated reality that he uses to promote himself. And now how much he does that could be irresponsible. Because if he's telling people like, oh, go slap Pete Davidson or whatever, then if something happens to Pete Davidson, yeah, I mean, that could be on Kanye.
But I don't think you can, I think you have to be very careful. And the chat room's kind of picking up on it now, and there's too much going on there to continue to read. But I think you have to be very careful how you police the things that you say, too, because then you'll end up being able to say nothing. Because if you're going to take everything that you say as being used, what you just said could be a microaggression to possibly make somebody do something crazy.
You're taking away
you have to
entertainment.
put it back on the crazy person, not necessarily on the person that's saying something.
Then take away all entertainment. And it's like, oh, well, this violence caused this person to be violent. And it's like they saw it, so therefore, or whatever it is, society has to figure out what's acceptable and what the line is.
Yeah.
And I think they did with him because he did his apology. But what kind of a
for now, yeah.
Yeah, was it really a? I don't know. I saw it and then I was just kind of like, probably better if you just went away from social media.
Yeah,
and
you don't need it. At all.
If you heard Kanye say something and you're dumb and crazy enough to go attack Pete Davidson, how much responsibility is it on that dumb and crazy person or Kanye's? Then that's for society to decide.
I lend a little more on the Kanye one versus the example that was used about us, because Kanye
that's a horrible example.
He's giving you a task to do something. Just because I say like, oh, look at Tom's arms, his buff arms, oh, wrap me up and hold me, big boy, or like 69 me, or if I say take your pants off, Sam. If somebody tries to take her pants off, or somebody in the street tries to 69 you, I'm not on the hook for that.
No.
So that's why I think that's a bad example.
Yeah.
Because I'm not telling people to execute a task for me. That's when it gets weird. And he knows he's got people that would be willing to do that for him. I mean, one of his biggest fans is SBK. Like, my buddy, and loves him. Just absolutely loves him. I'm not saying he'd, execute this man's tasks, but there are people that would. He's been that kind of artist. Huge. Mega huge.
All right, bye-bye. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan, our producer. Samantha is here. Hello, Samantha.
Hello.
Would you prefer to be called Sam or Samantha?
Either or is fine.
Sometimes I feel like if I say Sam, that's it's like disrespectful. I think I can say...
But then because you guys are shortened your names to Tom and Dan, then you say Samantha, then it seems too long, right?
Yeah. It should be Tom, Dan, Sam.
Yeah.
Or why don't we go
One
Thomas,
syllable.
Daniel, and Samantha?
Ooh, that's a mouthful.
Change it all.
Thomas Chisholm, Danny Lee, Samantha Ann.
Okay, all right.
Southern.
Yeah.
Man, we're sounding redneck.
Southern. Thomas Chisholm thinks he's an Indian. Danny Lee, racist. Samantha Ann, like a good cook.
Listen, there's
a good cook.
Trashy.
There's some money in going full blown south. I got the truck for it.
Full south?
Tater Hayes will fight us if we do that.
Who?
Tater Hayes.
Come on, how can you forget?
From that radio station out in Brevard?
No,
it's like Polk.
Or Polk? Yeah, Grady Judd station. Anyway, we have a very special guest here. Being in here and not being via Zoom, it's a little bit weird. We haven't seen this guy in about, I want to say, like 2 years.
Yeah, we just talked about it on Twitch. It's been over 2 years.
Yeah, he was one of our very first quarantine cribs. One of the ones they liked the best.
Really?
Because it had him, it had his wife, his plants. He had a lot going on. He planned out people still talk about that. They're like, oh yeah, it was cool to see him in his house and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, the official storyteller of the Orange County Sheriff's Department. It is our very good friend, John Busdeker.
Hey, how are you guys? It has been a while, and I think you should have asked Samantha on the first day if she wants to be called Samantha.
They
or
don't
Sam.
ask me anymore.
No. We work these things out when we feel them. When we feel them.
I go back and forth too with Sam's name because I'll say Samantha, and then I'll be like, "What have I been calling her?"
What's her name? Is that her name?
I'm
Is
not
it
sure.
Sabrina?
What have I been
Savannah?
No. Oh, because I'll think like, have I said Sam before? I'm pretty sure I have. But then if I say it, maybe she'd be like, "Why'd you say that? You're a weirdo."
Why are
Man,
most
you think way too hard into things.
or doesn't think way too not into things? Why are most women on this radio station, their names start with an S?
And it's 3 syllables.
What radio station? We're in your house.
That was the correct answer.
How you
That
doing,
is weird,
Busdeker?
though.
I'm great. I'm glad to be back. I had a good time on the Zoom one, but I think it cut out last time, so I like being here in person.
We like to have you in too.
Yeah.
The Zoom, you've done a decent amount of Zooming over the
Yeah,
pandemic.
I don't love it though.
Me neither.
I mean, you can do it right, but it's still different than actually talking to somebody.
Yeah, even done correctly, I have found that Zoom still kind of stinks. You know, like we're lucky that we get to Zoom in with comedians or voiceover artists or people that we have in here, and it's great. But I feel, and tell me if you feel this, and you too, Bus, that I feel like I have to do a lot more. It's a lot harder. You have to pay attention to every nuance. You have to be looking at their face.
Yeah.
To kind of see what they're saying. It's hard.
The biggest problem with video, and not really with your cell phone, but more with our setup, with the fact that there's a camera. This happens with your laptop too, but not as much because the camera's basically at eye level. Is it when you're looking at the person? It happens with us. If I'm looking at the person on our screen, I'm not looking in their eyes. Because I'd have to look at the camera to look in their eyes, and it's weird to look in a camera and not at the person.
Yeah.
But you are looking at the person. I tell this all the time to the people that I do Zooms with. Like when you stare at the camera, you're looking at the camera, and you're like.
But I'm too dumb. I can't. I'm looking at a black square.
Too dumb.
That's not the person.
He's like, you're not the
face.
person. You don't have a face. You only have one eyeball. You're not tricking me, you idiot. You're not Daniel. There's Daniel. I see him. He's littler than you. Yeah, see?
But there's definitely a benefit because I'm sure you can do interviews, video interviews with people who can never make it into your studio because they're in California, they're in New York or wherever.
We got Travis Pastrana. That's it.
We did.
And now he won't write me back.
No, we got more. We got Travis Pastrana. We got Les Stroud. We would have never gotten that one if it hadn't have been for Zoom.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it was easy for him. He did it from like a cabin or something, or at his office. He's like, let me call these idiots.
Yeah, Bob Saget, no Zoom, over the phone,
no
and
Zoom.
somehow
that's because
made more news.
He didn't want us to see all the contusions on it.
Oh,
Come on!
Yeah.
At some point, some point,
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's always too soon on this show, right? Because we killed him.
Yeah.
We're
all never talk
too
about
soon.
it.
She did it too.
I sure hope I make it out alive.
We'll
You made a
see.
mistake. You made a mistake,
see.
Butts.
We'll see.
I'm right on time.
Tall, skinny. You look a lot like Bob. I don't know.
So, Busdeker, how has work been since the pandemic?
It's been fine for me. I mean, I stay really, really busy with the Zoom stuff. We do all kinds of Zoom stuff at the sheriff's office now.
Are you the Zoom man?
I set up a lot of it because we do a lot of
Are
interviews.
you IT now?
Technical IT.
Oh,
when it comes to
They're like,
video
get the
stuff.
dirt. He knows how to do
Yeah,
that.
But what I wanted to say wasn't to make fun of him. I wanted to now I want to hug him and say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," because that's a lot of. Wow, what a work! A lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error too. Because I
have to
learn.
do that here, and we don't do a ton of Zooming, but that we do is hard, and I hate it.
Yeah, and we run it through professional cameras,
Sure.
and we have stream boxes and audio and mics.
Yeah,
and
he got the real setup.
all kinds of stuff. But it's been trial and error for me because I had to learn like lighting and making it look right and sound right. But it looks a lot better than just doing it on your computer.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you told the story about has the masks that all of society has been wearing for the past 2 years, has that complicated police work in any way? Because it feels like
great question.
It feels like it should have.
No one will give us a straight
but it
answer.
doesn't seem like it seems like more robberies would happen.
My father told me my father told me
logic.
if I pulled my stocking cap over my head and walked into a bank, they would shoot me dead. My dad told me
The
that.
old man security guard
My
would kill
dad
you.
told me they would shoot me dead.
But it's like it seems like just society wearing masks would complicate police work. And
I mean, it's a legitimate question. I really don't know the answer. Like, you mean, if I was going to go rob a bank and I had my mask on, normally if I had a mask on 5 years ago, I'm probably going to rob the bank.
They're like, oh,
yeah, but
Or
now
you're a
it's
dumb
like-
doctor.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Look
yeah.
at that dumb
or
doctor.
a convenience store. Like the fact that
I mean,
now
there's other ways to catch criminals than what they look like, fingerprints and DNA and all that.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, normally, because now there's video cameras everywhere. There's one in every ATM and stuff. And I've seen the shows, like, they're like, oh, he walked by this ATM. We see his face. Now everybody's got masks on. Although, I think criminals anti-mask, like, they don't like them. And I feel like...
As you were talking, I'm sitting there thinking about the people.
You know, I think they're going to be like, nah, screw this mask. And then they'll be like, there he is.
It's like going to be the one guy that walks in without a mask. You're like, he's here to rob us. He's got no mask on. Get him.
Anyway, the answer is I don't think it has, which is confusing to me because it seems like it should be a big mess
It's
for
like
the
Uber.
cops,
It's
but
like
it
people-
hasn't been.
It's like people ask me, do you think Uber has lowered the DUI rate? And I go, well, I would hope so, but I can't tell you. I have no
Pretty sure it hasn't, right?
I don't think it has.
I have no
I
answer
think-
for you. The mask thing, I got nothing.
It
I got
should've.
nothing for nothing.
It should have.
Just so you know, any question you ask me, I will give you the answer I have been told, but I got nothing on it. There's no value to it. There's no. I don't even believe it.
There's no evidence that I
I'm
know.
only telling you what I've been told, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do not believe it.
So, what are some other stories that have been big? Like, what's your last huge viral video that got a million?
now,
I saw your steak. I saw something
My
completely
steak?
unrelated to
Busdeker
police.
steak.
No, Busdeker's. He did a piece on this little cheesesteak spot.
Oh, that was a long time. I
But
did
no,
that
it
years
just
ago.
popped up yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I swear to God,
I
the
went
algorithm
back.
got
Yeah.
me because
No,
it's
I
like
went back.
Cheesesteak City,
That's
and I'm
like
like
Mr. Pat's
art,
or
yeah.
something.
Art,
Yeah,
yeah.
art sandwiches.
Yes.
So no, I used to do all these videos about Orlando.
I like
don't.
those.
I don't have as much time as I used
Yeah.
to. I wish I could still do that. But yeah, that was a fun
That
one
was
that
a
I
great.
did.
That's a great. I liked when
I know.
okay, this is a hot take. It's Hot Take Wednesday. I like softer, friendlier Busdeker better than busting criminals Busdeker. You're a little.
I don't bust
you're
any
a little.
criminals.
Your hands are rough now. You're a little more. You're not as sweet. I
You
like the
know?
sweeter Busdeker.
You're
Been hitting those hard streets.
Yeah, well, look, he's beefier now. He's like a little more
I've actually gone out a lot more.
You're
with,
more muscly.
with our deputies,
I
like
don't
on
like it.
ride-alongs and stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
They let you have a gun, like
No,
a tiny
no,
He's
gun.
got the
Oh,
bug now.
no.
He's got the bug now.
No. But I go out just to kind of see what they do as like their normal job because I work at like headquarters.
So
at
what's
what
a
they
normal
call.
day?
So recently I was with Sector 5, which is around.
Oh, that's
internet-
where they all got the alien arm. I've seen that. I've seen that.
No,
like,
it's-
just go into your neck.
I wonder if he gets. Does it go down there? Does he get a
there it
tiny
goes.
tentacle?
But it's where iDrive is. That's like Sector 5.
So it's the
Oh.
tourist
So I was
cops.
with
They
the-
don't do nothing.
No,
They just ride
they
around on
do.
bikes.
No, they do ride up on bikes, and
know.
so I actually got to ride on bikes with them.
You
So
rode
you guys went on a
bikes?
bike
Yeah.
ride.
You
Yeah.
rode bikes with Sector 5.
What kind of crime are you busting over there?
I'm drugs and guns and just like anywhere else.
Drugs
really.
and guns and whores.
I don't know about the third one, but
Isn't it just a bunch of
Sector 5's a rough place. You have no business there.
like everybody like down I drive and it hangs out? It's like
It's called Sector 5, Tom. It's not
Middle
mine.
America.
It's like Midwest white trash, and then what?
British people.
and then
Yeah,
then
British people.
Florida trash trying to scam the Midwest
Yeah.
white trash, and it's
British people. Look at that orange. Look at that orange.
yes.
we went around and just kind of patrolled things and made sure everything was all right. And
So did you like bust some criminals?
there was one at the very end of the night that they stopped them, and we were actually stopping another car, and
What'd you pull him over for?
He had no bumper at all, like no bumper. Which
That's
meant
illegal.
No, which I don't think he had a
Write that
tag.
down.
No,
Right, no
no
tag,
tag
yeah.
either.
Oh,
like
okay.
just like nothing. On
Well,
the
yes.
back of his
Well,
car.
you guys are idiots because his bumper fell off.
Yeah.
You gotta tape your tag to your tailgate.
But as they were stopping him, somebody else called for help because they they started fighting. Like
oh my God, Buzz.
No, it was a wild thing because we could hear on the radio like I need help, and so we had to leave that guy and go.
That is the lottery of no bumpers because I've seen that happen before. That's happened to me.
Got a joint in his console burning in his bumper, and then they're like, "We gotta go." And he's like, "Oh my God!" And you just evacuate your pants right
with
now.
Bo Cops. Remember where they're like, "We're about to go to jail." And
that was Man Tom.
And then when the cop has to go chase the other guy, you're like, "That guy saved our ass."
We were getting our boat was boarded, and we were going through the whole thing, and we both knew we were going to jail. And then a red sparkle bass boat with a guy with a mullet and his stereo so loud he couldn't hear the cop goes flying by into the manatee zone. And man, me and Tom got the biggest. We were so happy.
That's the equivalent of winning lottery.
And the cop goes, "Slow down!" He yells at him. He's like, "He can't hear me." He's like, "You guys got lucky today." Undoes his rope, gets in his boat, takes off after that guy. We're like, "Yeah!"
So,
but probably the biggest one recently, I don't think I talked about this because I haven't been on here in a while, is the theft of Bugsy the French Bulldog. Did you hear about this?
No.
So Bugsy the French Bulldog.
So this guy in West Orange County, he was walking his French Bulldog. This was back in March of last year.
Oh, wow.
Just going for a walk.
Took you a year to crack this.
No. Actually, it did take 6 months, though. And so they were walking around. He was walking around the block, and these two people stopped, and they pulled out their guns, and they said, "We want your dog."
Yeah, they did like the Lady Gaga thing.
Yeah, it was like that same week as well.
So this was happening peak pandemic because dogs are so sought after, right? They were so valuable that people were actually robbing people.
I need something to pet while this virus kills my friend.
Yeah. So this dog was like a $2,500 dog, and so the guy was the nicest guy too, and so he gets his dog stolen.
This is terrible. Dude.
Yeah. So he gets his dog stolen. So our deputies kind of look into it. They interview him. They say, we'll do the best we can, but it's hard to track down dogs because if they have chips in them, they don't always get scanned, and so
they will cut them out.
Yeah, and so that's what ended up happening. So after they did all this investigation, one of our detectives found out that they were some dogs were being taken to this other guy in East Orange County who was cutting out the microchips so the dogs could never be tracked. But luckily, this particular one, they never cut his microchip out, and so they did find him, and they reunited it with the owner like 6 months later. It was wild.
I wonder if like if the dog is kind of like, what if the dog doesn't like you now? what if he's like, I like the chop shop or wherever? What if he's like, I have always wanted to run with a gang and I was in a gang and now you're putting me back this boring old man.
This guy said he was a little skittish at first, the dog, when he came back, but he's back home now.
Oh,
yeah.
Also,
good story.
There had to have been a couple cops that were like, I'm not chasing after some stupid dog. Like, it's an animal. They're like, I got into police work to solve serious crimes.
I kind of feel like I want a couple of those there just to even out the ones that are like, I want to do it.
Yeah, well, the guy who said, he's like, I have a dog and I see how bad they treat these dogs, so I want to fix it. I don't want this to happen to anybody else's dogs. Plus, they were robbing people with guns, and so it could have went way, way, way worse.
It's crazy that dogs are so sought after. Is it still that bad, or is you can't find a dog in the pound? Because there was a while where pounds are empty. It was weird that
it's a special dog though. That's why. I mean, Bulldog.
No, I know. All the lumpy ones are still in there.
I ain't shooting nobody for a lumpy dog.
But there was for the longest time, we're like, hey, adopt from the pound, get from a rescue or whatever. And there was a time they're all rescue. It was like when the Venice, the canals were clean. You see the fish. It's like, oh my God, we stopped and this happened.
We saved all the dogs.
All the dogs were saved.
I said that to people. I was like, look, we saved all the dogs. And we were looking at it.
But it's back. They returned.
And it gave confidence to a lot of really hideous dogs. A lot of really horrible dogs were like, hey, I must not be that bad. I got adopted real fast. It was 3 days I got adopted.
My mom and sister got a bite crazy one.
Oh, a bitey girl.
They would have nobody would have ever adopted this bite.
Who wants a bitey?
He's a biting machine. And now he's got a home and he takes in some secondhand smoke. That's fine.
Well, it calms him down. If a dog is biting you, it is proven that if you can poof Parliament Light 100s into its face, that it will actually calm the savage beast.
We had another case right around that time that it was a 25-year-old cold case that they solved.
Wow.
It was a murder at a convenience store up in northwest Orange County. Guy was stabbed 75 times, 79 times.
Wow.
And at the time, they didn't know who did it because they just didn't have the technology to look through DNA. But they did have blood samples, and there was blood all over the convenience store.
Sure,
and the guy didn't really have much family around here, and so nobody. I mean, his friends cared, but he just didn't have his mom and dad weren't alive anymore.
God, that's sad.
And so they eventually solved it after 25 years because technology sort of caught up with the blood samples and the DNA. And
it's
the guy
a lot lately.
Yeah, and the guy who they caught, he was living up in Eustis and just sort of living a normal life.
Really?
Yeah. I say normal life. I think he was like a construction worker.
But was he like... I'm always fascinated by these cold cases that are extremely cold because they come and they get the dude and he might have like a family. He's walking out like he's a normal guy. He's already been like, no one's catching me. Or maybe the craziest ones are the ones where they have no recollection of even doing it.
Oh, yeah. They convince themselves that it's not even real
and
or
I
something.
believe that. Yeah, I believe you could compartmentalize something to the point where you don't think you did it.
This guy had been stabbed so many times that what they figured was the person who did the stabbing, the suspect, he had probably nicked himself at some point.
Yeah, that
so there
happens a
was
lot.
blood, other blood at the scene, and so they could test that blood. And they found the guy, as I said, up in Eustis, and the way they sort of matched the DNA, they had to like go through his family tree.
Oh, is it through like 23andMe?
Yeah. So
listen,
they could
that's why I
figure
don't
out
do that.
If I violently stab someone, I'm never doing ancestry.
Well, no, it wasn't you.
It doesn't matter. It
No.
could be anyone in their family.
Oh, yeah.
And so what they could do is say, okay,
God, I
like,
gotta call everybody. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You'll also find out
we'll
about
be safer if we don't.
You'll
Yeah.
also find out secret siblings that way.
Yeah. And so they sort of narrowed it down, like it had to be one of 3 siblings, and so they could rule out 2. So they sort of focused on one, and then they had to get his DNA. And so the way they did
Wait
that
for him
was
to throw a cigarette out the door.
he threw 6 or 7 beer cans out at a gas station. And at that point, it's public property if you throw it out. And so they tested it, and they matched his DNA.
Wow. What kind of beer?
Yeah, I think it was Budweiser.
It was Budweiser. It was Budweiser.
There you go.
See, I thought you were about to tell me, because this happens a lot, where they solve a cold case and then the guy's already serving life in prison. And it was just like that. It's like less satisfying to me because I'm like, oh, he's already in prison for life.
Right.
Like, I know that there brings some closure to the family and stuff, but it's not really justice because the guy's never getting out. So it was kind of like, this guy was
he was out.
Yeah,
No,
it's like you murdered someone violently. You don't need to be in society because like that guy obviously is insane, and who knows if he can, if you did it one
25
time.
years he went about his life.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was like 1990, 1991.
96,
96, okay.
Nuts. That is absolutely crazy. And imagine you're sitting there, like I like the ones where it's like they've taken on a role of something like they're a pastor at a church with a new family. And
Or
next
a
thing you know,
cop
they come and get him, and this
sometimes.
guy rapes
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, how did he do that?
And it's like, what made the person even go back and look? Because I'm sure there's tons of cold
So
cases.
there are. What it is, generally when our detectives go look at cases, it's they sort of see what they have. So if it's from, 80, 90, 100 years ago, they probably don't have a lot of things. But when you start getting closer to sort of the present, you might have a lot of blood samples. You might have something
that you couldn't test before.
you couldn't test it before. But as I said, like as technology changes, like you can retest
Oh my
the
God.
things.
It's like video game quests. If your character isn't powerful enough, you don't do it. You don't do the side quest. You wait, and you level up a little bit more till the technology gets good, and then you go back and start chipping at the ones you can't. That's crazy cool, man.
Are cold cases public file? Like, can you go back and look at, because
I think they're always technically open cases. I'm not an expert on this.
I would
but
imagine if they're open, you can't.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. If they're open,
If they're open, you can't.
There might be some parts of it that you can. Initial police reports, those are usually public record. But like really fine details, because what they don't want to happen is, let's say you're the murderer.
Well, I was going to say, Sam could probably solve a lot of these on just give her some evidence.
Well, if anybody
Give her the
here,
evidence.
if anybody
She can
here
know.
would be a murderer, it's either going to be Tom or Sam.
Okay.
Oh, why me?
Tom's too
I'll
dumb.
never get away
That's
with
what the murderer would say.
That's what I'm saying.
Busdeker knows he's a cop.
But no,
He's not a cop. He's not a cop.
I'm not.
He's
I'm
like
not.
my in-laws like their steak. He's like
Close
not.
enough.
He's a
You
cop.
got- yeah.
He's like a reporter plus.
yeah, but
He's
no,
a reporter
But there
plus.
might be some things in that file that only the murderer would know, and so you don't want to release all that stuff because
Yeah.
if maybe they know what kind of gun it was, or if there was something special about a
And
knife or
some
something.
people like to claim that they did
Yeah.
things that they did not do.
Yeah. And then it gums up the whole system, and then the next thing you know, people are confessing to crimes that they had nothing to do with. People are
All the time. Happens all the
people.
time.
That
Have
do
you
that.
ever confessed to doing something you didn't do?
Hell no.
It never
me
even
neither.
dawned on me to do that. But I was like, that's the last thing I ever thought of.
Yeah.
I never thought of like, hey, I'm gonna confess this murder for fun. Like what?
I don't know.
what
I
is it?
kind of get off on him every night when Andrea comes home from work. I look at her. I just tell her a new lie every day. I'm like, I burned all your clothing. And she's like, you did? I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't do that.
Psych.
Well, I was just gonna
Yeah,
say
it still
because
keeps her on her toes.
there's a lot of like internet detectives that end up like finding new evidence and presenting it to like local law enforcement about certain crimes that were committed that actually I've seen
Because they have the time.
I see them in documentaries, although I'm sure if you talk to police officers, they'd be like, please don't do this. Like, stop sending us garbage or from crazy people. Because it's like one documentary comes out and like, these internet sleuths just like solve the crime.
Well, like that cat
but they're like,
thing,
no, that's 1 in a million.
It was like that one documentary about the lady or the guy who killed the cat.
Don't F with cats.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was the one that, and then there were people that started just like influencer became a new job. Then like internet sleuth became like a new job that people were gonna like. I'm gonna quit my job and now I'm gonna be like this like
Well,
keyboard.
they start doxing people that have
Yeah.
nothing to do with the case, and then people either get hurt or hurt themselves.
Do you have to deal
because
with any of that around here?
I don't, but I'm sure there is some. I mean, there's some higher profile cases that have happened in the last 20 years here.
Well, speaking of higher profile, I've saw like so many people on the internet make comments about like Bob Saget and how like the police should be investigating this, and then all I could think about is like, I'm sure they did. like I'm sure they, someone within the police department.
Somebody's to call the police.
Did their due diligence and looked into it, especially because it's such a high profile case. They probably wanted to make sure all their T's were crossed, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just making the assumption. Now, that sometimes doesn't happen, but in this particular case, I think they looked into it.
Yeah.
And they didn't find any foul play or whatever before, but people are like convinced, they're like, this is, why aren't they looking into this? Like, this is, although it seems weird, it's just like, I'm sure the cops looked into it.
I mean, they said the door was locked. There was no struggle. There was no blood. I mean, the medical examiner did his job, and that's not under the sheriff's office. That's under the county.
Yeah.
But I tell people, like I don't know every single detail. I mean, I followed it as much as everybody else did. But I say, believe it or not, people die all the time. They're just not famous, and they die for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, people,
and some of them are mysterious, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I never heard of that.
It doesn't mean
you
that
never
it was
heard of a lot of things.
It doesn't mean it was a
Right.
homicide or there was a murder. It just, people die. People have aneurysms. People fall. People it happens. And they even die at 65, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it happens. He just happened to be a celebrity, and it's, it gets a lot of publicity, and it's tragic, but people die.
But the internet does push us towards
Questioning
conspiracy,
everything.
Questioning everything, conspiracy.
Well, we're
like,
taught.
We hear the
we're taught
we
that's
hear
a
the
good
weirdest
thing and a bad thing, right? We're taught that both. You should question everything. Hey, question everything, and then you're taught like, hey, come on, what are you doing? You're gunking up the system with too many questions. Come on, so where is the?
And it's like people
Where's the
are.
balance?
It's like people are awesome. Like we're inundated with the most extreme, crazy.
Oh, you mean the video series?
Yes,
people are
sorry,
awesome.
yeah. Like, well, it's like
I thought you were just getting positive for a second. You're like, you know what? People are awesome. guys."
But you see a 3-minute video montage of people doing crazy stunts and unbelievable flips and things that they practiced for 10 years and probably tried that trick 10,000 times before they made it. And we see 5 seconds of a clip of people doing 100 of those things. And then it starts to, like, amazing feats start to be diminished, right? Because you're like, well, I would just watch 100 people do amazing things. So this person doing, why can't everybody do it? You get influenced by that stuff.
Sure.
You see crazy stories of like murderers getting away with things and crazy mysteries that are like, oh wow, that did happen. The Super Bowl did get played twice in the home, bowl of the home team. No, I mean like Tampa.
Oh, okay, all right.
Anomalies happen,
Yeah.
and then it
He's
makes
having
us,
an episode. You just have to sit through it.
it makes us believe that it's going to happen more often than statistically possible.
Sure.
And I'm sure that makes policing harder than it should be, because people are like, wait a minute, this is a crazy murder or like some sort of conspiracy or whatever. Like everything is some sort of hidden crime.
We also want things to be interesting.
Yeah, and they have. I mean, crazy stuff happens all the
it
time.
does.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
And hopefully that stuff is investigated and they can figure it out. But I think in this case, in a lot of cases, people die.
How's your radio show going with Brendan O'Connor?
It's good. It's good.
I hear some animosity
No,
there.
no. We still.
Brendan not pulling
You've been
his
doing
weight.
it for a long time.
We not as long as you guys, and
No,
not
but-
as long as Samantha.
That's
but
true.
But
That's true.
But I thought it was going to be done in like 2 months.
Wow.
Wow.
No, not because it's not good. Just
I'm
because you would have been like,
sorry.
hey, let's just stop.
He's too big for it.
Well, I mean,
No, we have a
people-
good time. We go somewhere different every week. We have fun. We
Yeah,
go
but
to
you guys
bars,
are
we go to
doing it
restaurants.
right because you get restaurants that roll out the red carpet for 'em.
They
Like,
do
I
not.
know.
It's funny. Some do, some don't, and we don't expect anything. Most of the places we go, we usually just show up. Or
Why
we
aren't these places rolling out the red? Let me call ahead. I'm like,
Well-
you got a big celebrity coming there, and he's also a cop. So get your ass together, or he's gonna have you on the ground. He's gonna tase you.
Some do a really, really great job. Others do okay. But like I said, we're not really there to like. I mean, I know some are small restaurants and they might not have the staff or the ability.
What's
to
your
do it.
favorite episode of their show?
He doesn't listen to anything.
How
Don't ask him.
dare
that. Don't
you.
ask him that.
I
Don't
like
ask.
I like the meatball sub one.
I too like the meatballs so much. What about
I like
you,
the
sir?
one that was like the seafood car wash.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
your video, right?
Yeah, that was
That was
funny.
video. Yeah.
But it's not as good as the meatball. Tom's
But
right.
no, me and Brendan
No,
have a
it's
good
meatball.
time, and we get to meet different people and see different spots. And
I think
That
you're doing
sounded
it again.
hearty, right?
Yeah, when's the last
Whoa.
time?
Sorry.
When was,
It's too
when
much
was your
Diet Coke.
booster? Have you been boosted? What's
No.
you
that?
been
no,
boosted.
I
What
don't
am I
think-
doing in here?
I don't believe any of that.
I think you
I
got
forgot
it.
to tell Buster. I don't believe
We
it.
don't
I
believe
figured
it.
that.
I
I
don't believe
figured.
in any of it
I
here.
figured.
Sovereign citizen. We scream it. We always scream it.
So, Busdeker, does it make you jaded producing video content when? Okay, and I'll go back to like restaurants, and this is like your radio show, right?
Okay, which you don't listen to.
Come
It's
on.
fine.
He doesn't listen to any radio.
I know.
He
No, I
quit
know. I don't
our
care.
radio.
I
He
don't
stopped
care.
listening to radio when he quit radio.
Yeah.
So, does it make you jaded because like you'll do this piece, let's say on the cheesesteak?
Okay, this is a
company,
long
right?
time ago. But
Yeah. But yeah, you used to do this a lot, and it would get a ridiculous amount of views.
They did very
millions,
well. They did
millions,
well.
Very
Yeah.
well.
right?
Yeah.
And then so obviously the small mom and pop cheesesteak place can't afford marketing.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
but
They're-
I will say, still get a free cheesesteak every time I go in
No,
there.
that's good. It's worth
it.
Worth
I'll
it.
get paid
Yeah.
a cheesesteak.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But that's
too.
because you're a cop, not because
No,
of the
no,
video.
no.
I know. I was in the sub game, and I gave the
Oh, you get free Chipotle now.
you give the cops free food. They'll come back.
You
there.
guys get to drink soda out of the
Yeah.
clear
Yeah.
water cups of
Yeah.
Subway.
They let you go. They let you go.
They do.
But anyway, you do these videos that get millions of views, and then like a Darden Restaurant Corporation would pay you a ridiculous amount of money to get the same amount of views for their for Bonefish Grill.
Yeah,
or
you
whatever.
go in there, you do the
You know.
tour of Italy at Olive Garden.
But they would never let me do the thing I want to do to make
Yes.
a million view video.
Yeah,
because they
and-
want it to be so corporate.
And the fact that it's Bonefish, people don't care
don't
because
care.
they're like,
Yeah.
oh, screw you, this is a commercial, and
like
then they
art
know it's
sandwiches.
real. And it sucks because you're like, there's so much value in it to a giant corporation who has the money to pay you, and and then the only way to get the views is doing it through a small mom and pop who can't pay you anything.
Well, then you
except for
should
a
just,
cheesesteak, yeah.
since they can't pay
God,
you anything, then you
stinks.
should show up every day and get at least a cheesesteak every day.
I could. No, I mean, that was the thing. Like, I wanted to do more of those videos, but you're right. Like, I can't go in and be like, all right, I want to charge you what this would probably cost. And I have no idea if it's going to do well or not when I go shoot it. I mean, I have an idea that I think it might, but I can't go and say, okay, it's going to cost, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, and you're going to get this many views out of it.
Because you can't guarantee it.
No,
Yeah.
I can't guarantee it, but also they can't pay it anyway. And so,
Yeah.
even if I could guarantee it, they'd be like, well, we can't give you $10,000 or $5,000 or whatever. It's just too much money for them.
It would make me throw my hands up and be like, no more internet. I'm done with it.
I think you
Done
should
with it.
start doing videos for these small businesses and start bankrupting them.
Okay.
Like
The
radio.
business, okay. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
radio does with small businesses.
Promise them the
promise them
world.
all.
Yeah,
You gotta
take
start-
their money.
You're
You
going to
gotta
get millions of views
Take
on
that
this.
model and do it right about the time you want to get the hell out of town. And then,
Yeah.
pew, and they'll never get you.
I just think, I mean, for a company or a business, it's more about just putting out a lot of content and good stuff as much as you can.
Let's talk about hobbies. Have you? Did you gain a new pandemic hobby?
I don't know if I did. I was making candles for a while.
saw
was,
you.
I was making bread, which I'm basically Amish there.
So your bread and candles. You
Yeah.
got all the Amish, Mennonite crafts.
Yeah, no, I
down.
mean, I mostly just work. I mean, I don't have any.
You don't
hobbies.
dabble in the pottery like your wife does?
No, she's very good at it. And
Yeah, she is
And
very
I
good
want
at
to
it.
say thank you to all the Tom and Dan listeners because they keep buying all
She's
the pottery.
super talented.
Yeah,
so
no, thank you.
That's why.
So, when it comes to work, Busdeker, has there been any body cam videos that have come out recently or in the past year, because we haven't talked to you in a while, that highlighted something a local sheriff did, and then you turned into one of your viral videos you did?
So, I mean, when you say viral, I mean, a lot of these aren't getting like millions of views. However,
over 10,000 to me is viral.
All right,
that's a lot.
Lots. So there was one. So the one that has done the best, which I think I've talked about before, was the guy who helped another guy off a bridge. He talked him down. That one has like 12 million views on YouTube, and the guy actually got sent out to Arizona. He won an award for his work. So that one was really cool. But that one was more of like a produced thing. I used the body cam, but I also interviewed a bunch of people. We had somebody recently who one of our deputies helped deliver a baby. And so,
so
that happens more than most people think.
Yeah, people are banging out there.
Yeah,
people are pregnant too.
And like it happened a lot in the movies, and then after going through it with my wife,
it happened a lot in sitcoms.
Yeah, and I started calling BS because
they
my
be
wife
trapped
had
in an elevator.
But my wife had plenty of time in both instances, right? God. Where I was like, well, how does this happen? But then
my wife's water broke. My wife's water broke, and she told me calmly to mix a drink because we're going to have to go to the hospital. And I started to get anxiety, so I did. I sat there and I mixed myself a drink, and we both sat there, her in her bathing suit, and I drank a drink before we went to the hospital.
And then
a lot of women wait to the last
that's
minute,
what I was about
especially
to say.
if it's not their first child, because they know you're going to sit in that hospital forever.
That's what it is. It was the people that have had multiple kids or had this is their second kid, and they didn't want.
I know how this goes.
Yes, and they're like, let me wait until because I don't want to sit in the. They won't let me eat, or it's a pain in the ass. So let's just like time this out right. But they end up forgetting. Like it happens faster the second time.
Oh my god!
And then all of a sudden,
be drinking this beer.
And all of a sudden your contractions are way too close and you're like, go, and then you get stuck in traffic. And my buddy Joe had delivered multiple kids being a paramedic.
And he's a pervert. So that's bad.
No, but this woman was just like on the way to the hospital, and I don't know if she got stuck in traffic or it was just it's time to do it.
Yeah.
And so they were like flagging somebody down, and thankfully I think a deputy was nearby. And so I watched some of the body cam. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, bad positioning. It's right there in his chest.
Yeah.
When it starts to look like a Japanese website.
Yeah, and we had to blur a lot of it. But,
you should blur all of it.
But I didn't know who it was at first. I didn't know the deputy who did it, and then I saw him one day out at the gun range, and he was like, "Yeah, thanks for putting that video out." I was like, "Oh, that was you." He's like, "Yeah. Grossest thing I've ever had to do in my career."
I like this guy. Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if I could do it.
Good on you, man.
And this is a man who's probably
honest...
seen, homicides and murders and all the grossest thing I've ever seen.
It is. I've been with this guy. Give that man a medal.
Now, hold on. Not to take anything away from him. Just like, what
Some
exactly
real men would rather be shot at than deliver a baby, Tom.
But what exactly did he have to do?
No, basically, he's like, I just put gloves on and it came out.
Yeah.
Even that. I put gloves on and it came out.
If he wasn't there, it would have just fallen on the floorboard and been fine. Like, babies are pretty hardy at the beginning.
It could just fall on the floorboard. It's like Punxsutawney Phil or whatever, right? You just like, you put your gloves on, he comes out.
Yeah, and then you pick it up, it's fine. And like the umbilical, and then you could drive to the hospital with the umbilical cord. You
could probably use a cigarette lighter to burn through the umbilical cord if you need to.
So is that much you have to do?
Use your keys.
Yeah, and do they even get training on like basic?
I don't know about it. I mean, probably not. Probably
First
not
thing you want to do is put your gloves on.
It's somewhere in the PowerPoint in the academy, right? Like some sort of. There's at least 2 slides on like, here's what you do.
And if a lady has a baby, just put your gloves on, let it fall out. Once it falls out, kick it to the floorboard.
There's got to be something.
Hand it one of those teddy bears that's in the trunk of your car.
Are there any like? Would you get told like, hey, there's this body cam footage, can you do something? And then you're like, it's not gonna hit. Like, has there ever been
on it?
Has there ever been something you're like, I can't really turn that into a story because it's not how it works? It depends.
I mean, there have been times where we'll get emails from people that work in the agency that say, hey, this might be something, maybe check it out. And I've looked at it and be like, it's really not something that is worth putting out there. But a lot of times it is. Most of the time it is. It's, people rescuing people delivering babies, all that stuff.
At the end of the year, I had this concept that I wanted to run past you.
Okay.
At the end of the year for the Christmas party, I thought it'd be funny if you compiled and you could put like lightly some music, duck some music underneath it, and do a montage of body cam farts from all the cops. I'm telling you, it would crush. It would crush if they're getting out of their car, just
sitting in their car,
or
right?
just sitting there and they're
driving around.
You know they're on
It has
there.
to happen. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure they're on there.
And
I mean,
do
there's
a whole fart collection.
yeah.
And then you put like who let the dogs out under
Bad farts, bad farts.
Yeah. Or you put like, oh no.
Oh, TikTok.
Put some TikTok music underneath it. The cops will love it.
I'll run that by the sheriff.
Yeah, run it by Sheriff Mina.
Speaking of the sheriff, has the sheriff made you go out and film their kids' basketball games?
Yeah.
Because that happened to Clear Channel.
Well, so we
had a corporate videographer who
Okay.
was supposed to film like events and stuff. But conveniently, he was asked to go out and film like the higher ups, like kids stuff.
okay.
And we were like, what?
What do you mean the kids stuff?
Just like
that
the kids'
sounds
basketball.
illegal.
Like, my
no.
kid's doing a basketball game. Go film it, you idiot.
Right?
Just film like they use it as like film my kid's birthday party.
Because they're not there. 'Cause they're not at the game.
Well, just because they have access to it.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
like
I
the-
got a
The
video.
video nerd is there, and he like have him film my
It'd
kid's
be
stuff.
like,
I need
it'd be
it.
like if Sam's coming into work and I'm like, hey, swing by the dry cleaner and pick up my suits.
I feel like, first of all, I don't know if you have a suit, but like, I feel like that's something Tom would do. Be like,
Yeah, I'm actually
Oh,
mailing out some banners for him later.
Oh, you are?
Lee was cleaning my grill.
That's right.
makes you clock out before too. Like you're not on the clock when you do
We
that.
don't have clocks around here.
Yeah, we do, but it's wrong.
Nobody clocks in.
Oh, my God, that's funny.
Huh.
I forgot about that.
So wait, what was your question?
I don't know. I'm just joking around. That's not a serious question.
Do you film any personal videos for anyone?
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Police
not
department?
really. No, not really. I did do a video on our PAL program, which is the Police Athletic League, and they do basketball. And
They
stuff.
do great
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, there's a reason it's been
Yeah,
around
that guy
for
used to
forever.
play for the University of Miami.
Oh, right on.
Maurice Crum is his name.
And he's the pal guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
See, not that you do this, Busdeker, but if I was in your position,
Okay, well, you're not.
I
Thank you,
would.
boss.
Never will be.
Damn.
If you taught me how to film,
we have background checks.
no,
And
no,
stuff.
no, I've never been arrested.
Okay.
Bus always throws shade at
I love
everybody,
it.
Like
I
we're
love
all
it.
criminals.
I'll pass any
Well,
background
I
check.
mean,
And I know how
we're
to pass.
closer to criminals than he is.
My buddy who
don't
worked
know.
for Orange County taught me how to pass the lie detector.
Okay.
It's true. I'll tell you guys. If they ask you, like,
Those don't hold up in the court of law anymore.
have you? Well, it's like just for
We
a
do
job.
we do a voice stress analysis test.
Yeah, it's like
You can
if
beat a
were-
voice stress analysis test?
No, I could beat it, because it's all about how you answer the question. And I'll explain. And my buddy, I want to say his name, but he was camping with us.
Wow, you're gonna narc on your own friend.
And he's like, "This is how you do it." He's like, "If they ask you if you've ever smoked weed, reframe the question or the question and answer to be like." I was around my sister who smoked weed at a party. So, and then you're telling the truth. You're like, just remember.
You're an idiot if you think that's gonna work, because they're just gonna repeat the question.
He said it worked.
No, sir. Can you just answer our
Because-
question?
Right? They're not gonna let you
Oh, okay.
reword the question.
All right, well, you're at
They're
your
yes
sister's
and no
party.
answers.
It's
Well,
cool.
he said that it's all.
I'm trying to figure this out.
Just
You're gonna reword the question back to the person.
well, because it's not for a criminal investigation. It's just for getting a job, and they don't care. Like the people that
Do
are.
they use lie detectors for getting a
never
job?
heard
No,
that.
they
At
do.
Orange County,
That's what
and-
I-
You
Yeah.
had to take one?
Yeah.
What kind of questions did they ask you?
Oh, I don't. It's
Have
been
you
a
ever
while.
smoked weed?
That-
Have you
those
ever
are-
done drugs?
Those are the questions.
Now,
that
And
they
then you
ask.
say, I've
And you
been
actually-
around people that done
You actually
drugs.
have to fill out a questionnaire first.
But would they be less likely to take you on as? I wonder how medical marijuana
they're
is going to
not
affect
really
that.
looking for that. I mean, if you say yes, I've smoked weed in my life, like
I'm on
it's-
weed right
no.
now. I can barely concentrate during
Can you
this.
repeat the question?
I'm on weed right now. This lie detector test is really freaking me the F out, man. But I want to work here so bad.
Freaking out, man.
And
Yeah.
I will say that the most negative thing about me is I work too hard.
Oh,
It's usually bigger. They're looking for bigger stuff.
Back to-
and they're looking if you're lying about things. too.
right. You don't want to
That's-
be like deceitful.
Yeah.
just rephrase the question.
Okay,
Okay, so
there's your
If I-
advice from Tom Van.
Mastermind criminal over
Yeah.
there.
if I had Busdecker's job, what I would do, because like it's too much work to wait until like a juicy story comes across your desk or
Juicy
like
story.
a good body cam footage. Who knows? That's random, right? Like and then you got quotas.
So you're
to
gonna
fill.
start creating crimes?
Yeah, well, not creating crimes. No, it's not
good
crimes. It's about like
That's a good idea.
heartwarming internet stories that you can put out there.
Like?
For instance, the best one is there's two that I love. One is when the deputy goes to the skate park and starts.
Start skating.
But like, is he real bad at first, and then he shows up?
No, he used to
No,
skate, but
he
he's
used
kind
to
of fat.
skate.
No,
And they're like, "Oh my god, he did a kickflip!"
But no, you pretend like you're bad, so all the kids are like, "This deputy's gonna be no good," and then he like does a kickflip and he does an ollie and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Well-
I've seen that one. I like too. I think when he came in to really pucker their butts, he gave them the whoop whoop, and they're like, "Ah, man, you're just shutting down our skate session."
Yes.
And he was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And he walks out, and he's like a little bigger,
What's
and,
up, cool kids?
and he grabs one of their skateboards,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and he
then
looks
he-
like he's gonna break it over his leg, but then he gets on. Oh, look at him kick flip crazy, and I'm like, "Ah, look at him go."
And then he's endearing himself to the community and the
Yeah.
kids. And he's like, "All right, stay off the drugs."
Yeah.
And
So
then-
if you kids hear
and he's like-
anything, you'll be more likely to give me a hot tip, right?
or they say, or he says like, "All right, you can't skate on this private property. You have move it over to the skate park."
Move it
All right,
over to the
kids.
skate park. I heard it's more lit there anyway, ma'am.
So I would just find a guy that knows how to skate and then create that and just go look around. And also
Get him a uniform, right?
Yes.
the next one I like is the basketball cop, which
Yeah.
is
I think he's kind of gone to the wayside after skate cops.
We get a lot of basketball cops.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
basketball
it's
cop's more popular.
Yeah.
easier to do, but it's like when
older game.
Yeah, when the neighbors complain about some kids playing
This
basketball.
literally happened like 2 years ago.
I know, that's what
and I made a video out of it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the lady was complaining. They're like, "Oh, let's go over there," and then they challenged the kids to a game, and kids beat them. But it was a fun video.
But then it's like, that cop has a good jump shot.
Do they take their guns off when they shoot?
No,
Can't take
No.
a gun off.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then if
I put it on the hood of my car, right? Like I'd be like, God, this belt, I think my whole belt.
I think it would be really
Someone
hard
steals it.
if I were a cop playing basketball with kids, it would be really hard for me not to throw the ball in the air then shoot it out there. Like just for fun, right?
So, Busdeker, what can you promote? I don't even know. I don't know. Why are you here?
Stay off the drugs, kids. That's all
Stay
they
off the drugs.
I don't know why you're here. Why are you me?
You invited them.
I know, but
friend.
I know, but I'm. It's the end, so I'm like,
During
hey,
the
we're gonna say
pandemic,
something.
he saw so few people
Yeah.
that now we're having to reteach him how to be nice to everybody. People come in here, he's yelling at them. He's mean to them.
But I feel like that's how it was before.
Not as bad.
No,
It's gotten
it
worse.
got worse.
He doesn't like any fun. He has no fun.
Oh yeah.
Like all the things that I see you doing with your wife, you're like traveling and having a good time and just like being outside and doing like this guy.
Oh, my
grumpy
wife
or
was
whatever.
yelling at me last night. She's like, "It seemed like you didn't have any fun in your camera trip."
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
I thought that too.
I know, but everybody's like, I'm like, why
Too
can't I just
quiet.
sit? Why
Too
can't
quiet. You fell asleep next to the fire with his feet out. This is how he sits in a chair at the fire. He keeps his feet out there, and I'm like, "You have good core strength." He's like, "No, my legs are just hollow and light."
True.
That's a quote. And then he
It's
fell asleep
easy
with
to
his legs straight out, and the rest of us talked all night.
Oh, it's easy to keep my legs up. Sorry. What do you want to promote?
You can go to Orange County Sheriff's Office on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. You can listen to Bungalower and the Bus if you want. On
We got to get
on Real
both of
Radio
you
here.
guys in here at the same time.
I know. Brendan always tells me I need to book us both over
Now-
here, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I
Last
just come in by
question.
myself.
Last
It's on Sunday.
question is a little. You guys are a little opposite now that you've gone more the straight path and he's gone the full-on party path.
Yeah, you think he's a partier?
Oh,
Yeah?
do you
No,
follow
yeah.
his Instagram?
I do.
He's having more fun.
That guy,
Yeah.
he's living in an authentic, fun life.
That's his job, though. That's his job to get out and see all those
But
things.
he does it right. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, he was in New Orleans.
Oh, God, I was
Yeah.
so jealous.
We were at the Hideaway together the other night, and he left his debit card there, so we had a good time that night.
Hey,
Yeah, we had fun.
Is that a gay bar?
No, Hideaway?
Oh, I
Miami
thought you said
Dolphins
the
bar.
highway. I didn't know what that was.
I think I know where you were going. 1989 special.
All right. Thank you, Buzz.
I appreciate you having me.
No problem. Bye-bye. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha is here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
We also have somebody sitting in, and I'm really excited about this. This is great.
John Busdeker's here.
Hey, how are you?
So, John,
I love the hey, hey. It's a familiar and heartwarming hey, hey.
tell us about the SWAT team.
So the SWAT team over at
Right
the
into
sheriff's office. I work at the sheriff's office, and at the
They
SWAT
know.
You don't just work at the sheriff's office. You're
I'm the
official
storyteller.
storyteller of the
Yeah.
Orange County Sheriff's Department.
So we have a SWAT team, and they go out and do SWAT stuff, like the more high risk things, barricaded things, and
They have a tank.
They don't. It's not called a tank.
Oh.
It's
Armored
called a
vehicle?
Bearcat.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a Bearcat.
Bearcat
Yeah.
sounds cooler than tank.
It does.
Tanks have things that shoot things out of them.
Okay, yeah.
Bearcat doesn't have
Well,
that.
you could put a bunch of cops sitting on the Bearcat and shooting everybody.
But they have some armored vehicles, so when they pull up to houses, and if they're shooting at them, they're at least protected in their armored vehicle.
That's nice. I can finish my coffee before we go in there and start kicking some tail.
I like it when they put a chain around the door and then the Bearcat hauls ass down the street
And yanks the door off.
But not even the door, the whole frame, everything,
Yeah.
the whole front of the house. And you're like, oh, you got him good.
Those two like fiberglass columns that are made to look like wooden White House columns, and the whole thing just collapses because it's an old Florida wood house and termites have killed it, just riddled it.
So yeah, we have a SWAT team, and every year they do what they call SWAT selection. It's like a tryout. And so a few weeks ago, I got
They
to
should
see
call
them.
it SWAT or not.
Yes.
Run that other
I
flag.
will. I see
Run
the
that other
captain
flag.
like all the
Yeah.
time.
SWAT or not.
SWAT or not. I like it. So yeah, I went to
That's why
their
I'm here.
tryouts the other day, and they do them once a year. It's an annual thing, and it was in January, so it was super cold out the day that they did tryouts. And tryouts, anybody can be it. As long as you're a deputy, you can try out. You
It's like
sign up.
arena football.
Oh my God.
The thing is, they don't get a ton that sign up because they know they have to do.
You also get a $15 gift card and lunch provided by Chipotle. That's what they would do. The Orlando Predators. They're like, hey, are you big and fat? Do you want to come down here and be a football player? You can come down to the Orlando. What is like Camping World?
Yeah.
If you're a big fat slob, come down here. Lunch provided by Chipotle.
It's like $150.
You'll never make the team. You have no chance of making the team. We just want your money.
Bushy told me that's a revenue generator.
I tried out for the Predators
no
one
one-
time.
Yeah, because it
no
was
one
a-
ever gets
Yeah,
it.
it
It was
no
a
one.
scam. Remind me when we're doing try out to be on Tom and Dan, and with
Now,
a
hold on.
$35 fee, and then I collect all the money, and
have
nobody.
one of our listeners sign up next year to try out on behalf of Tom and Dan to be on the SWAT team.
Oh, it doesn't work
Well,
like
you gotta
that.
be a
You gotta
cop.
be a deputy. You gotta be a
Oh,
deputy.
there's
We have medium cops.
Yeah, but they can't make it.
Come on.
If
The
they're
only thing
anything
they're
like
swatting truly.
if they're like your other BDMs, they ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
But no, so
No chance.
the tryouts consisted of I think 11 or 12 people signed up to try out, and it was 10 men and 1 woman. She tried out as well, and you had to swim. First thing's a swim test, so you got to swim the length of a pool. And
I
it
can
was-
do that.
It was so cold out that day. Like
I can
said, it was
totally do
39 degrees out in Winter Park outside.
So do you have to swim in your uniform
gear?
and stuff, or
No,
like you get a wetsuit?
They had their boots on and like regular clothes on. I think most of them had like camo stuff on, but it's not like
Tactical. We call it tactical gear.
tactical
Okay,
stuff.
okay,
They didn't
they
have
got
like their
tactical
guns
gear.
on. They didn't have like their body
Armor,
armor on.
okay.
But they jumped in.
I never
So-
take my body armor off. That's why I'm always wearing a hoodie.
So all they had to do was swim there and back. It wasn't timed. It wasn't anything like that. It was just to show that you can swim. And so I asked the guy later, the captain, I'm like, well, why do you guys do a swim test? It's not like you're, jumping in the water to go rescue people. And he's like, first off, why shouldn't we do a swim test? And I said, well,
Oh, yeah. Why should we do a nerd?
I'm not gonna
no,
bless
That's a
myself.
stupid question,
said-
storyteller.
He said, imagine if you're on the SWAT team and there's a house that's barricaded and it's nighttime and they have a pool in the backyard and you have to go through the backyard and one of your guys falls in the pool and you got all this gear on. You got to know how to swim.
I'm like, God damn it, Jim! Get the hell out of there!
Someone in the pool.
Freezing. I can't swim.
Because he basically said nobody else is going to jump in and save you. You got to get out of that pool. Or if it's a lake or a pond or a
So,
retention
yeah,
pond.
they want to
So-
make sure you can save your own life.
Yes, yeah.
What happened, Jerry? I tripped on an umbrella. I fell in the deep. This is it. Go on without me. I can't make it. Tell Bud Mudd I hate him.
So that was the first round, and then we left there. We went to the gun range, and they do like a bunch of physical stuff. They had to do running and pull-ups and
At the
push-ups.
gun range. At gun range, you do.
Well, eventually we got to that. But no, they do like pull-ups, and they did time all that. You had to do like so many sit-ups, so many pull-ups, so many laps, and they time the whole thing. And,
No, hold on. No. My favorite thing is when you're holding someone's feet and they're doing sit-ups, right? And
It all comes back to work.
It's like
It all comes
they're
back to work.
serious, but they don't even react like the
No.
person holding the feet because this is like SWAT. This is a whole serious
SWAT.
thing.
We don't laugh at farts, man.
yeah, but they always.
You think farts are funny? This is SWAT.
I don't know. It makes me laugh. Sorry.
Anyway, so they had 14 minutes to finish like 3 laps of these things, 3 rounds of it, and there was the one woman who was there. She was on like the 12th sit up, and she had to get to 15, and she could have got to the next round, and she didn't finish in time, and so she was out.
Oh man!
Yeah, and not just her, other people didn't make it, but like she was like so close.
Typical lady.
But they
She'll do it next
but
year.
you know, she probably will do it
Yeah.
next year. But they have rules like if you don't finish, you don't finish. Like there's no sort of
My wife has that rule.
You guys, you got pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, it's
2
not like-
sit-ups away, man.
Yeah.
That
That's
stinks.
rough.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I know.
Come
no,
on, right?
I really do in this
But-
case because
but-
I'm like, would the 2 extra sit-ups make her any less? You know, I feel like you should take from something else and just give her the sit-ups or
Like,
something.
You
Rules-
can do them, right?
rules are rules,
I
and
know.
the SWAT team.
I
So
know.
so yeah, that was the second part, and then they had to rappel down a tower, and same thing. It
How
wasn't
tall of a tower?
like 5 stories, maybe.
That's
It's
tall.
pretty tall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
tall.
tall.
And that was the same thing. It wasn't to see like how good at rappelling they were. It was just, are you able to
Can
do
you
it?
do it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because a lot of these people have never rappelled anything, and so they
You have.
put them up there. I
You
have, yeah.
Me and Sam have
Well,
not.
do they give them training prior to?
A little bit. Like it was like a 10-minute training.
It's
like,
easy.
Like,
But
here's-
you also know what you're getting into before
Oh,
you do
yeah,
this, right?
yeah,
So they
yeah.
could have trained on their own.
It's
basically
basically
hold your hand here, hold your hand here.
Okay, yeah.
It's you squeeze a thing,
Yeah.
and then it's like you squeeze it, drops you. You
I
let
gotta
it
tell
go.
you, the people that
it's
gotta
fine.
worry about
Easy.
it aren't really. I don't think any of us really gotta worry about it. But there are some larger guys that I think would have to worry about that, right?
But you
Where-
got to be pretty physically fit just to get to that point.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've already done the push-ups, the sit-ups. Like you can do all these things. I say push-ups, like chin-up or pull-ups too.
My favorite video is there's a suicide person like sitting
Oh my
on a
God,
window.
That's your favorite
The
video?
hell, dude?
Well,
A
hold on.
person
They
committing
didn't,
suicide?
No, they're threatening to commit suicide.
Oh, those are funny.
And they're sitting on the window, and then like some sort of I can't tell if it's it goes around the internet if this is like some SWAT team or like a paramedic or rescue person. Anyway, they basically rappel down above and then shoot out far and then kick the person into the window.
I've seen that.
To stop
The crazy person. They stop the
kick 'em
crazy
off.
person from jumping out the window.
Yeah, and then they kick him good, and they kick him with a full force of a grown man
have to.
swinging on a rope.
You
in
have
the-
to.
Yeah.
There's 2 reasons for that. One is because that person, a lot of times they can be big and strong and
Oh, yeah,
they're on
yeah.
medication. And
you
the
don't wanna-
second reason is really fun to kick
Yeah.
a grown person through a window fast, hard.
yeah, and you're like, you saved their life, but you kicked them good.
Well, if I'm doing it,
you
I'm
probably
not
kicked
gonna-
them 25% too
I'm not
hard.
going to lightly kick them.
No, you can't. You don't want to bounce off of
Yeah,
them.
you don't want to
Yeah.
not kick them through the window. You got to really give it a good college try.
How does the SWAT work as far as is it once you're in for life, or do you have to keep renewing your status your weed card every 7 months?
I don't actually know the answer to that. I think there's probably yearly checkups. I mean,
Do they weigh in?
No, I don't think they weigh in. But
Can
like,
you be a bigger SWATman?
You can't, as long as you can do everything.
SWAT plus?
Yeah.
I
That's a good question. I will ask the captain that when I see him next.
I feel like
I saw a
like-
viral video.
But like those guys are
Big
all
SWAT.
like those guys are like a team though, and so when they see each other, like they work to be on the SWAT team. So I don't think
Does
you can stay
chemistry
on
come
there.
into play there? Do they need I would imagine it would, right? It's just like the military where you would
Yeah.
want your squad to get along. You know, you need the chemistry. You need to work together to solve your problems and stuff.
I had a buddy from high school that he's a cop down south, and he's part of the SWAT team in the local department or whatever. And they are real serious, like
they're
army
serious.
to the
Yeah.
point of like it is. You have to have a personality to do that. It's like
It is a certain kind of deputy that wants to be a SWAT.
yeah,
member.
like
It's the
you're
kind-
type A, you're into like working super hard and being the best at everything and knowing all your gear and knowing how to do everything the best. It's that type of,
And
you
you
know,
like
that's what
to-
you need to do that job.
And then you get to
Hard as
graduate
hell.
one day. They give you that sweet, sweet black Lego helmet, the weird one. And you're like, "Thank you, sir!" And you put that thing, and you're like, "Look at me!" And you get that weirdo helmet, and you get to ride on the side of the trash truck when they're going on a drug raid. I've always wanted to ride on the side of the trash truck, and you're on the side that they can't see you, and then they whip you around, and you run, and you're
Do you have to
awesome,
get sprayed again with more pepper spray, or
I don't
get
know if they
tased
do.
again?
I did watch. So they do something else called ERT, which is Emergency Response Team, and that's like below the SWAT team. Like they go out and do other things, like not high risk situations like a SWAT team would do, but if there's like a crowd control situation, you learn how to do that stuff.
I got another great idea.
So part of it is doing the gas though, and that was fun to watch.
SWAT or not, first great idea. Second great idea. You know these community officers that are usually just like chubbier women?
Okay. They drive around in like
the cute older lady is
looks
like my
like a cop
mom. It's like
car.
my mom in a cop car, but she's just a tattletale.
Yeah. Always scare me when I'm like, not a real cop.
No big deal. Then I get my toothpick out. You need a SWAT for that, and we can be that. Tom and Dad. We are Tom and Dad. We're Tom and Dad, community SWAT.
Yeah. So we don't have all the training, but we could.
But we get the job done.
I can shoot a gun, and I've seen.
I can kick somebody mentally, like having an episode through a window. I can do that.
Yeah. We put on the thing. It's like
we wear the Lego helmet. We give us a couple of the buses.
You played enough video games where you could like.
I'm good at shooting on video games.
Like,
I'm okay shooting in real life.
I'm good at shooting.
I'm good with a shotgun. I'm actually quite good at skeet. But
you guys should all. Have you done like a shooting competition? Like who could shoot?
Not
the
amongst
best?
each other.
I can shoot the best.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been shooting.
Probably
long
regular
distance.
guns. I wouldn't
would you
disagree
even know
with them. But with
I'm just
I
doing
grew up
the
in
math
Taft.
there.
I was shooting since I was a baby. I was shooting in diapers.
I'm the only person that's ever won something from shooting on the show.
Oh, you can shoot the skeet.
I won the celebrity shoot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
the celebrity portion. I was the best celebrity.
Yeah,
but
that's hard to do, and that shows some skill.
It was all luck.
No,
I hit 63 targets out of 100.
Really?
It was really
That's
good.
good.
Dude, you're tracking skeet and being able to shoot it out of the air. That's
Drunk luck.
No, I'm telling you, this is not bowling. Shooting skeet is like it's hard to get lucky. Like you gotta have some
I think it was luck.
marksmanship.
No, I think it was luck.
So
We should do a shooting competition.
Buster,
man.
you took some training, right?
No, what do you
never
mean?
like. Did you ever go and shoot at the
I
gun
haven't
range?
yet. No, they all want me to. I just haven't. Every time I'm out there, I'm shooting video.
Come
and
on,
I'm just
nerd,
busy.
shoot with us.
Pretty much.
Why don't you
yeah.
shoot
Well, you
something
didn't-
to kill somebody, not something that makes people smile?
Well,
That's what they want to say.
you didn't even try a little bit.
Well, that day I couldn't. The SWAT thing, that was like all SWAT stuff. So they eventually did shooting stuff, and then they had to do an obstacle course,
Ooh.
which is kind of fun.
Obstacle
Yeah,
course
yeah.
sounds hard as hell.
Yeah.
Were people not finishing it, or most people?
No, they all finished it, but they have
It's
to
just
like
time.
Yeah, it's time, and they like climb up ropes, and it's
So they're
just
doing like Ninja Warrior.
yeah, it was Ninja. It is totally Ninja Warrior.
You know what? For a fundraiser, I know that they want to be all serious out there, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to open that thing up and say, "Hey, you want to run it? Give us $20 and you can run through the course."
Not a bad idea.
For
I'll-
raising money for the cops. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
if they need
For
fun,
charity.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure there'd be or set up stands and let us sit in the. I would take my daughter to watch these dudes and ladies run an obstacle course.
all right.
Although
Why not?
Well, like anybody could do it.
Well,
Here's
no,
$20. Anybody can do
No,
it.
I'm saying if the cops are running it, like
Okay.
during their professional period, we would all sit in the stands quietly and watch. You know, like the
So
Olympics.
they do that during SWAT Roundup, but
That'd be
SWAT
cool.
Roundup's kind of it's public, but not everybody can
I
go
see
to
what
it.
you're saying, yeah.
But you could do something where, like, you'd probably be some liability, but here's $20. Try to finish this thing. if
Yeah,
you can
run the
really do it.
course.
I'd like to see Tom try to do that course.
I could
He
do
would
it.
hurt
No, well, maybe he could.
The
Maybe he
problem
could.
with Tom is he could probably do it, but he would end up injuring himself. He'd get through it no matter what. He's done this with everything he's done, like the smoke challenge
He'll
he did
power
with his,
through, yeah.
with his firefighter friends. He has
Yeah,
to carry
fun.
something. The time he had to pick up my scooter that weighs like 300 pounds with he just put it in the back of the car. All of those things, he ends up like blowing a knee out, rupturing his bicep, destroying his shoulder,
I know it's more about
tuliping his BH.
just showing that you're physically fit, and some of the things like using a rope to climb up a wall or an apex that's like 45 degrees or whatever. Like, it's just showing you have upper body strength, you have stamina to do
Yeah.
this. But I wish they would mix in some more real world like situations because
They do
there's-
that later. They do that later.
yeah.
This is just day one. They
Yeah,
do
yeah.
like a 2-week thing, and then they have like I said, psychological stuff, and you go through other training. So it's not just like it's not Double Dare
Like-
to get on the
Yeah,
SWAT
yeah.
team.
Because honestly, it should just be where you get someone and they're like, all right, here's the arena, chase this guy down and tackle him. and he's gonna try to juke you out, right? Because that's most of what cops.
That's not what SWAT's different though.
Yeah, I guess SWAT. Yeah. But a lot of SWAT is like throw this flashbang grenade in, kick the door down, and tell everybody to get down.
I want to use that metal thing where you hit somebody's door down.
Yeah.
And I want to stand in a line, but I want to be in the back.
And they do that where they'll have a bunch of doors and they'll have the guy just try to batter ram it down. And I'm like, that's real world like technique where like if you can do that, you'll be doing that in the future. Climbing like you'll never climb a rope ever.
Here's why
there'll be no scenario where you'll ever climb a rope.
Here's why I could never do this. And it goes for football players, baseball players, SWAT, military, anybody that wears that amount of gear. Even like without the gear, they still have on like long johns, underwear, a shirt. You know, like it's like the layers and the amount of like you're putting on like 9 different belts.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because you're taking it off.
They're all ripped. I will say, like when I was out at SWAT Roundup, like they're all just like ripped.
Yeah, chiseled big dudes.
Well, because again, it's the type of dude that wants to get into SWAT. They're working out. They're workout dudes that want to push themselves to the limit.
Is there anybody? Not that you would point them out, but have you ever been looking at all the dudes and you look and you're, oh no,
I'm here, guys, and for the 7th time, ready to try her again.
There's one Tom Brady.
Standing there in his
Brady with
SpongeBob underpants.
He's gonna rock it.
I hate that picture of Tom Brady. The first picture from
the shirt
he
off.
just looks not happy to be. He looks uninterested. Have you seen it?
I don't know.
It's his draft photo, and it's horrible.
It's just him standing with his shirt off.
He looks like a scared child. I hate that photo because I actually like Tom Brady, but the photo, he's standing there in his underpants. He just looks like no reason to be there.
He was never like ripped or had a good body or whatever. It's just like he knew how to hack his body to be the strongest thrower as possible for his age. You know what I'm saying?
He's just a smart guy. He's smart.
Yeah. Anyway, Busdeker.
He's got long balloony tunics.
I know, long blown out underpants, like old underwear.
Smokes. You know that this is gonna come up in your future, right? Why wouldn't you?
I don't respect anybody that wears old ass underwear, and I know Busdeker. He keeps his underwear tight. I can tell that because he's got look at his fancy boots.
I do. I got these fancy boots.
Those are nice.
Oh,
Thank you.
That's
Very
the first step into becoming a cop.
Yeah.
Fancy boots. Yeah. Well, you start wearing the tactical boots, and then so you're still got your skater shirt on, but your tactical boots. Soon it's just gonna come up like Venom.
Those are like Mumford and Cops. They're like a little tactical, a little like you could banjo.
Designer.
Yeah. You know, I could tase you and banjo you at the same time.
Well, I've gotten to the point where like I wear almost the same thing every day, like a uniform,
like a cop,
which is great.
You used to wear a tie.
Jeans. Yeah. I don't have to do any of that anymore. I just have like a shirt that has my name on it, my boots and my jeans, and I'm good to go.
Was there a time where you didn't have to go in because of COVID, where you work from home? Or
not very long. I had like a month where I got to do that, and then my boss was like, "You got to come back to work.
No,
like, you can't be home." I only live like 5 minutes from the sheriff's office, so it's pretty convenient.
That's not bad at all.
I've heard a handful of people that they're like starting to like bring them back or like
they hate it. Everyone hates it.
And then they're like, nope, I'm finding a new job. And they're just like, all right, well, I guess you can stay then because no one wants to come back.
Especially if you're like really good at your job. I had a buddy of mine who's like really good. They said, you got to come back. He's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to start. He was cool about it. He was like, I don't want to come back. I'll come in for the time being, but if I'm gonna have to come in, just go ahead and let's start the process of me getting out of here.
Yeah.
And they were like, whoa, don't, you're really good. You can just stay at home. And then occasionally, maybe one day, pop in for a big meeting or something. He's like, fine. And then he was able to negotiate his way of staying home. Because it's like, it's almost like how much you actually can lean on what you do at that point. Because you can say,
that's
like,
your leverage.
Yeah, everything's getting done. I'm a good employee. You have no reason. You've seen during the pandemic that nothing changed. In fact, maybe some companies actually did better. So you have no reason to keep me at your office.
Busdeker, have other like departments across the country hired like storytellers because of the success that you've had?
We asked about this last time, but we didn't have a clear-cut answer because it was
probably
still kind of
changed
new.
2 years later.
It was kind of new.
Yeah. So, and then I'm sure that they call you to ask what you do so they can emulate that.
Because you're the OG.
Yeah. So there have been some other agencies that do like video. Like they've always done that, I think. I know there's one out in San Diego. I'm talking with those people because they do a fantastic job. Whoever does their video out there is really, really good. Like my job specifically, though, I haven't found a lot of other agencies that do this, like what I do, like live stream and podcast and shooting video, sometimes in front of the camera, usually behind the camera. There have been some agencies I've spoken at like conferences and stuff, and they'll come up to me afterward and say, first of all, like, you got the best job ever. But second of all, like, we would love to do this, but our sheriff, our mayor would never get behind this because they just don't think there's any value in it.
Oh, yeah,
but they like it. But
it's very new.
I like that. That's how I
It
am.
is really young. It's really new. It's very anti-old, white guy sheriff. It's really anti.
You got to find somebody who's willing to do it, and then somebody who can do like all the things. And that person doesn't always exist. Like,
Like
hiring
you can write and edit and shoot and do print if you need be.
Yeah. Because most times, like a department, their main job is to answer requests for media, for public records, all that. Like that's usually what a communications department does. We just happen to have me that does sort of all these other things. So if you're a smaller department and you say, okay, we have money for this, we have to do this. Like, we have to answer these emails about media. But then if we had extra, maybe we could do this other thing. So they don't always have that extra.
Gotcha.
But I think they all should, if they could.
It leads me into a topic of like certain types of people, and I'm like this, where I don't appreciate art, right? Like, and I don't appreciate the effort and the talent it takes for people to produce art or just tell a story or what that even is, and because I just don't have the concept of it, and I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but I like
you say it's worthless.
I like the real man, the sheriff, not understanding
telling a story. Stories are for babies, right?
Because I got a job to do. I'm cleaning the streets up.
That's why I say it's so new and fresh, and it really is like it's very 180 of what you would typically think of especially a sheriff's department.
It's very smart though
to
connect with the community like that.
Well, it has to be done because if you don't, then all that gets told is the opposite, and then the police get they hated by the community because they're like, look how much bad you do, and you're like, wait a minute, all the good, and like no one tells the good because the only thing that gets clicks is the bad from other media. Totally. So then you have to have someone like Busdeker tell them the good to even out.
But that's so hard to find because like we love you and we know your value.
I appreciate that.
So we see it, but
even though you throw shade
finding,
at us.
well, I wouldn't have it any other way. But it's going to be impossible for any other market to find a John Busdeker.
That's not true. I mean, there's
that
people
is
that
true.
No, but I mean, there's people that can do this. I mean, they might have to learn something.
You're able to blend being like wholesome with also being a good sport, which is for a lot of people is very difficult to be able to do both.
I'm not on camera as much as I used to be. I do need to do that more often, mostly because it's faster to edit when I'm not having to work myself into a video. But finding somebody that can just shoot and edit and put things together, I mean, that's not impossible. I mean, people do that all the time. News reporters do.
Yeah, but no one.
You vet it. Use your
brain to get as many views as you get. You have an understanding of what people like and what it takes to get the views,
or what's important to tell. Like, what are we telling?
That takes a little bit of skill.
Yeah, well,
a lot of it.
Well, if anybody could do it, you go back to like the real man sheriff and be like, just put out the video, and it's like, and then someone is uploading a video on YouTube, and then it's Busdeker got 1 million views.
Let me ask you
this got nothing.
I don't think we've ever asked this, but yeah, like, so you put together the story, and like, who has to? I'm sure. You mean it has to go? It has to be vetted more than almost anything that goes out.
Somewhat. I mean,
who
depending
has to
on
watch it first.
First me, and then next is my boss. She'll usually watch everything that I put out just to like see what it is.
Sure.
I mean, not every single thing, because some things are much more light and just throw it out there. But some things are a little more serious, so we just want to make sure I'm not missing something or I don't see something in there. And then when they're real serious, sometimes it is the sheriff or the undersheriff. They'll take a look at it just to kind of make sure what's in there.
Tom's my undersheriff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He hates that term though. That's why I just want to point that out whenever he hears it.
Let's talk ass about other police departments, right?
My favorite thing to do. Is it talking mess about the police Wednesday?
Does Winter Park Police Department still have segways? Because I want to yell 2006 called. They want their Segway back.
So I will say,
where do you find a Segway mechanic?
So I think our agency still has Segway.
No, from 2006. They're all big balloony toonies.
Because I think they go around the courthouse in them, like outside the courthouse.
Just walk.
They're big old Paul Blorts. they're old technology.
but we also have. I think we have them. I think we have them at the convention center. I don't know if they use them all the time, but they have them. And I know we have a golf cart because I did a video on that.
Golf carts are fine.
Yeah, but golf carts hasn't changed that much. But like Segway technology and the way Segways work have changed.
When are they going to upgrade to one wheels like Tom?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
hey, cops on one wheels would be pretty dope. That would be pretty. You know what? I would be more apt to obey a cool cop if he comes up and he's like, wow, one wheel. Hey, put out that cigarette, buddy. And I'd be like, all right, cool cop.
Or when are they going to have drones?
We have drones.
Drones.
I've seen you guys practice them, or some municipality practicing them.
Yeah, we have drones.
Because I feel
like they practicing.
Well, around here, and I can't fly.
What are they doing? Do they have lights on them, like red and blue lights?
No.
Because I feel like a lot of calls a drone could be sent out, and
it could save a tree.
So it's
going to save a lot of cop time.
There's some rule. I don't know all the laws right now in Florida. There are certain laws that law enforcement can use drones for certain things, and they can't use them for other things. But like search and rescue, they can. So like if one of your kids gets lost in the woods and they can't find him.
Fly a drone out there.
Fly a drone out there because it takes time to get a helicopter out there.
Or you get the line of hillbillies that go. They do the search. You know what I'm saying?
These people are trying to help your son. You can't line of hillbillies.
I'm just saying. That's why I'm just saying. How I feel.
Put a shirt on. Plus, my son's missing. I'm in an altered state.
Yeah. Get a drone up there. And find them fast. Scan
everything. The hillbillies will take too long. We need something fast.
Yeah, you got to get them Subway and the whole thing. They're hungry.
All right, hillbillies, line up. Eat your Subway.
Yeah, you got to set up the 10 by 10.
Do you give the hillbillies the Subway before they search for your missing son
send
or daughter?
The drone out immediately. It doesn't need to eat. It just goes.
Yeah. Well, then it runs out of power.
It's also cheaper to send a drone out than a helicopter.
Yeah.
Because it's just less fuel, less cost, all that stuff. But there are certain times helicopters are better.
Yeah.
Well, when you use a heat vision.
Yeah.
And you're like, he's in a trash can. Take the lid off and embarrass him.
Well, speaking of helicopters, it seems like you could send out a drone to just track like a car super high. They couldn't see, and like just track the car and then wherever it stops, then send the cops. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need a giant helicopter flying around with humans inside of it.
You could probably just use the drone for the same thing.
There are certain things that I think helicopters can do better than a drone. At least that's what the helicopter pilots tell you. Yeah. But no, they can track cars, and I mean, I'm sure a drone could, but you can also go really far with a helicopter.
Yeah.
With a drone, you have to stay put as the operator, and if it's 10 miles away, the drone's not going to
it won't be able to make it.
Hold on, they got the military has drones. They're like there's someone sitting in
military.
Connecticut. They're bombing Afghanistan.
That's a different kind of drone, though.
Well,
that's like an actual aircraft.
Yeah. Well, aren't those getting cheaper and cheaper as technology gets better?
Yeah, they will. I saw them on Alabibi.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you go on Alabibi?
No. Wait, is it Alibaba?
We call it Alabibi.
They got everything on there.
Yeah, we buy. All kinds of fake turds.
But the other day there was a stolen car, and I think it started in West Orange County and it ended up in Seminole County, and so the helicopter had to go one way and then come all the way around and follow it. So a drone really can't do that.
Have you heard like the uproar about the Apple what is it called, AirTag?
The tags,
yeah, and then now like they're I guess putting out public service announcements that people are putting AirTags on like cars. So they can track them to go steal them later and stuff. And like, but were you supposed to examine your car every time you go to the mall and come back for an AirTag? Like,
I don't know how you're supposed to prevent that.
I think there are ways that you can like. There have been some articles about like, who knows if it's clickbait or not, but they'll say like how to protect yourself from being tracked by an AirTag or something, and I'm like, I'm not important enough for anyone, even my wife. If I go missing, she's gonna be like, good thing I put that AirTag in his car. She'll be like, good, he's gone.
Yeah, like I'm driving a dented up 2013 Silverado. No one's AirTagging it and tracking me to my house to steal it.
It's just not happening.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But the other thing is those catalytic converters, like they'll steal them, like they'll go under your car and cut them out, but there's really nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can park in a lighted area, put your car in the garage, but when that stuff happens,
why are they stealing your catalytic converter?
Because they sell them, but there's precious metals in them. They can melt them down and make money on the metals.
Wait a minute, is there precious metal inside my catalytic camping heater that I use this weekend? I'm going to break the thing open. I'm going to be rich.
Yeah. So they'll go underneath your car and just cut them.
Really?
Wow.
How have you never heard of this from Miami?
This happened.
This wasn't a Miami thing when I lived in Miami. Yeah.
This has been a thing my
so there
whole
was
life, I feel like.
There was something recently where two guys were staying at a hotel near Universal, and they had like 40 catalytic converters in their hotel room because they were walking around parking lots stealing them.
Wow. That easy to get, huh?
It only takes like a matter of seconds.
Yeah,
if
and
you're
I
good
guess
at
once
it.
you're under there, people can't see you. If you're quiet, once you're under there, if you know somebody's not in the car and they're gone, you can slip under there and just get to work, and then you could call them.
And then when you like turn your car on, I think it still works, but it's like super loud, and eventually you have to get it replaced.
Are you old enough did you remember driving where you had to go get your car inspected once a year?
I do.
I'm old enough for that. I had to do it one time when I was 16.
I went with my dad one time, and he bitched the whole time. My dad was so mad about it, like he hated it.
They put a wand in your exhaust pipe and then check you, make sure your battery's not corroded.
They didn't have that in Michigan. That wasn't a thing in Michigan.
Really? They made my dad roll his windows down, roll his windows back up to prove that they were like working. And he's like, "Of course they work. It's a Honda."
It was like in some industrial district in Miami that looked like a toll booth. You just pull like an oil change place.
Yeah. It's exactly what it was. You'd roll right through,
and then they were like,
and they give you a sticker and you put it on your car.
I think they still do that in Las Vegas, or at least they did 5 years ago.
They do in other places. Like when I went to Anaheim, they do it still, and I was like, "That's crazy. They still do that."
Yeah. For some reason, they just like, we don't need to do this anymore.
They do it one
I'm
other
like, I'm
place.
still driving the same truck.
The only other place I've seen it is they do it at the Daytona 500 when you're going in.
Okay.
They give your car a check to make sure you don't have bombs or rednecks hanging off where the catalytic converter would be. You'd have a couple people hiding underneath there.
I've always wanted the job where I had a long stick with a round mirror at the bottom.
Yeah, that's because you're a pervert. This guy's, he wants that. He's working at Claire's Boutique in the mall. He's working at Justice.
Yeah. I'm going to
And
say
they're retractable.
Tom's working at Justice ear piercing. He's got a long stick with a mirror.
Why do you have to make it retractable? Easy to hide.
So I can put it in my pocket with my boater.
Sorry, Busdeker.
that's all right.
Yeah, we have a tendency to get a little.
Is this why you don't come in? Because
Yeah.
you're like, I don't
we
want
get a little
my
off
bosses.
we go off the trail towards the end of the day.
Well, I figured we went this long. Let's go into
This
their,
story about the catalytic converters that were stolen from Universal is insane.
like they got a bunch of them in
Yeah,
the parking
look
lot.
at this
It happened
picture.
in Orlando jurisdiction.
Yeah, it was
Oh man!
Yeah,
They
look
were-
at that guy. Wait, did you,
they were
you see his-
stocking like a Universal hotel, like in the Universal Orlando area, and they got like a whole hotel room full of them, and they flew in from Texas just to steal these.
Yeah.
and bring them
Well,
back.
target-rich environment.
What kind of metals in there?
I bet, Bus, you could probably find out about this. I would be willing to bet that a lot of criminals come to Orlando just to steal.
Well, especially because
it's
tourists,
tourists, yeah.
like they don't care.
Did
Especially
you get their mugshots? You should see that one guy's haircut.
No,
Oh, has
I
he
don't
got a
see
crazy haircut?
mugshots.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Well, what kind of
They're
metals
both
in
19
there?
years old.
Yeah, they're young.
31 stolen catalytic converters.
That's
They
a
just had them
lot.
in their hotel room.
What is it?
It's like, it's something that, like I said, you can get a lot of money for.
Like each one is worth like $50?
No, it's like
or-
300.
$300?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But to replace it, it's like 2,000.
yeah.
So once it's cut
The
off, you have
three
to get it
metals
fixed.
used in catalytic converters are rhodium, platinum, and palladium.
Yeah.
Palladium? Palladium?
Palladium.
They're all part of the palladium. I don't know my glasses. Palladium group metals, or PGMs, which are known for their catalytic properties. There you go.
They also
Interesting.
might be able to resell them. Like they steal them and then they resell them, so those people can resell them on some sort of black market. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
So that they
yeah.
don't have to buy a new one, yeah.
Yeah, and then like once you cut it out of there, you just probably give you the money per weight or whatever it is. But
It's crazy.
interesting.
It's crazy.
I heard about tailgates. Like I remember like people stealing your truck
I've
tailgate.
never
I've
heard
never
of
heard
that.
of
You never heard of
tailgates.
tailgates?
No.
Yeah,
That's a Miami thing.
that was a thing for a while where like make sure your truck's locked. They'll steal your tailgate.
I've never heard that
You
either.
never heard of tailgates?
No.
I've never heard of tailgates.
Kids I knew growing up used to steal the chromies off people's the wheels. And,
Yeah,
and,
and then in my
tires.
town in DeLand, everybody, like if you had a fancy car that had a emblem that was like spring loaded, they just break it off and steal them.
Oh yeah. I
always hated that. I had a friend. I
Hood
remember
ornaments.
watching a kid steal your hood ornament, like one of my friends, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And that's when I knew I loved cars. And don't mess with my car, man.
It used to be a rite of passage if you had like a Jaguar hood ornament or whatever.
Cadillac, something,
Yeah. Huh. All right, Busdeker.
What are you kicking him out?
Well, we gotta go soon.
Well, we can do
6
some voicemail.
minutes.
You want to sit for some voicemails?
Sure.
I
Okay.
think Bus would be able to answer some voicemails.
I don't have to work or anything today.
Well, you tell me you're doing media.
I'm actually working tonight. It's fine.
You gotta work at night?
I do have to work tonight.
Well, what are you gonna do?
I got to interview somebody who works. She starts at 6, so she works at the 911 call center.
Oh, that's a
That's a
rough
tough job.
Oof.
Okay, before. Okay, so you know how it's been tough, like for all businesses to find employees. for
Nobody
whatever
wants to
reason.
work.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work.
Or it's just the workforce is getting like mixed up. We could say like people are leaving jobs, moving to like
Yeah.
they have more options. Or whatever.
Totally. They can all make money on YouTube.
We're in a shift.
Yeah. So whatever you want to
Start a
call it.
podcast.
I imagine that answering phones, like as a 911 dispatcher or whatever, being a dispatcher is stressful.
Yeah.
It's you got to be alert and like with it at all
Special
times.
person.
Yeah.
Which like there are lots of the majority of jobs you can just brain dead go through the motions like most
this
jobs. Yeah, most jobs are
Yeah,
like that.
I'm doing it right now.
Like you show up to work, there's very little thought. It's kind of like you do this or that or whatever.
Press a button, start, press a button, stop. There you go.
But the jobs that you have to be on it and like aware and not make a mistake and people's lives are on the line are 911 dispatchers. So like
Totally.
you adding a level of pressure that probably isn't compensated for with their pay. Therefore, that tells me that it's hard to find people to do that job.
It is. It is.
Is
We're
that a
always
thing?
hiring. I'll say we're always hiring deputies, civilians, 911.
What kind of personality do you need to have to do that? I feel
I
like
think you'd be good at it.
I mean, are you kidding? Are we joking?
No, because no, I'm not joking. I actually think you'd
Like
be good
Andrea
at it.
would be good at it.
She would, but
Someone would call in
I think
about
he'd be good at it.
about a murder or something.
But
I'm
he's
like,
stone
it's fine,
cold.
It's fine.
Yeah, he'd be calm.
Yeah, you do got to be calm. And
I wouldn't
there's
be
a lot
calm.
of ma'ams and sirs when they're yelling at you, but that's part of the job.
They'd call in. They'd be
Right.
like, I live near you at the station. I'm being
Yeah.
murdered. I'd be like, they're near the station. I'm out of here.
Well, I would get mad.
I'd
like,
run.
I heard the 911 call for Kid Rock when his like pop. I heard this the other day.
That's
on
your
TikTok.
ringtone. It's your ringtone on his phone. It's like 911 call to Kid Rock.
It's just like,
And-
"Bah
Not
with
what
the
I was
bah."
expecting.
No, he was.
Can't tell me nothing.
He called
Sleepy Joe.
His catalytic converter got stolen.
It was when his like I think assistant or publicist died on a 4-wheeler at his house.
Oh, man.
This is
Oh,
old
my
news, by the way.
God.
This is like
Oh,
10
my
years
God.
ago. But
That's
anyway,
sad.
so the call, he's like screaming at the 911 dispatcher to get an ambulance.
name is
No, he's cursing. He's like, get someone over. You know, he's upset. Obviously, and the person is the person is calm, and they're like,
What's
sir,
your address,
sir,
Mr.
yeah.
Right?
And he's like, get over here, and then he's not listening or being like, telling them the information they need.
Yeah.
And
Happens all the time.
Try to love someone.
and I would be
Sir,
frustrated.
are you there?
Yeah, like I couldn't be that calm for that long, and that's what these
I think it's
people
like
do.
anything. You probably get used to it, or you're trained. Like, all right, they're gonna yell at you. They're not yelling at you. They're just, they're excited or something crazy's going on, and it's their emotion. So you have to like talk them down. Like, what's your name? What's your address? It's gonna be okay.
I don't think
Deputies
I could
are on the
do
way.
that.
Deputies are on the
It's
way.
Too sad, too horrible.
Oh yeah,
too-
no, there's some pretty rough
Also-
things they have
no.
to hear.
Also, it's counterintuitive to all my stereotypes because, like, it seems like women primarily do that job. Although, in my mind, they're more emotional and can't handle their emotions as well as men.
Oh, here come the emails. Here come the emails.
Hold on, think about this.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to dissuade people from thinking this because how can women primarily do the job of 911
Women are
operator
nurturers, right?
and then but also be
you're-
totally calm and not and be emotionless during that time? I'm just saying that people should change their ways.
like yourself.
What? You
maybe.
should change your ways like I am. Tell them I am.
I'm woke now.
Woke and full.
I'm getting woke right now.
Yeah.
He just woke up, guys.
Let me wipe the sleep out of my eye.
I'm just saying, look at the reality. Anyway,
Yeah, you've come a long way, baby. Virginia Slim.
it seems like a computer could do that, right? Like,
What is your emergency?
yeah.
I'm being murdered. Uh-oh. City cop.
They just, they put out a ping or whatever.
Person being murdered.
A computer will do that in the future, right?
I don't think so. I think that's going to be a human and computer always. I think there'll always be a human there.
It'll all just be computers and drones.
Well, no, I think people will want a human there. When you're at your weakest point, you don't want to call in and talk to an automated system. You want a human. So that's why I think it'll always be a human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to...
I mean, I think the computers get, like, the address sometimes.
Sure.
And obviously they're all recorded.
They'll do some work on the back end, yeah.
Can they find your, like, if you make a cell phone call, they know exactly where you are?
I think so.
It takes a few minutes.
And if your penis is out. I know that.
That's why they try and keep you on the phone.
But you can text 911 as well.
What,
yeah, which a lot of people don't know that now.
Oops.
Did someone text you back?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody texted you back.
Let's try it. Type help.
I'm not doing
Do they
that.
text you? They
Two
probably
men are
call
holding me hostage in their red room.
There's also a cop here. I don't know.
Yeah, type we're being held hostage by a guy pretending to be a cop.
You know, Crystal brought the point of like you can't tell Alexa to call 911, and
You can. I mean, it
won't
won't do it.
say-
Yeah, no, but it won't do it.
No,
won't do it.
It's because they don't want an insane amount of false 911 calls clogging up the system.
But you could go in and make a vanity number. You could go in and make like the cops, and then put 911, and then call, and then say, "Hey, call the cops," and then
will it over? Like
I think maybe you can always figure out a way around.
Yeah. But they get 1 million calls a year in Orange County, just in Orange County.
1 million.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's the percentage of like garbage?
I don't. That I
Well,
don't
once
know.
it's mine, I got rear-ended.
Hey, ask your lady that you're interviewing
I will. I'll
tonight.
ask her today.
I got rear-ended at Dunkin' Donuts over here. I accidentally called 911.
But like,
Did you really?
Instead of the non-emergency.
There is a non. But like, if that's, you can explain that. Like, oh, I got an accident. All
Yeah.
right, we'll transfer you over.
Yeah. That's
But
what I did.
There's a lot of people that don't get their barbecue sauce.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of crazy ones. I'm sure, too.
I wonder if it's like over
You guys
90.
should put those at the end of at the Christmas party.
Like,
Okay.
out of 1 million calls, are only 100,000 serious out of the year or whatever? Like, it's probably some crazy amount like that.
It's probably a smaller percentage, but
yeah.
it's still 100,000. Divide that by 365. It's still a lot of people.
It is.
That's a lot.
But it's like if you get one serious call a day, that's a lot of nonsense. That has to make you
I think
jaded, right?
they get more than one a day.
Okay.
Serious.
I bet it's a
I mean,
relief,
it
though.
depends your level of seriousness.
I think it's the opposite.
I mean,
think
life or death.
I think you get enough of the ones that aren't anything that you're excited when you get the real one.
Yeah,
I think it's the
yeah.
opposite of what we think. I think we think that they're like, oh God, another this, stupid. This.
You never know. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody call you don't know what is the call that's going to be on the other end every single time. It could
Well,
be
my
something
buddy-
crazy.
My
Yeah, but
buddy
if they're
that loves it-
90% garbage, every time the phone rings, I'm like, this is another garbage.
well, then you don't want to answer, right?
Then you shouldn't be a dispatcher.
Yeah, 911. Is this garbage?
in fact, if I
You
never,
don't sound like you're in trouble.
911, this is Tom Van. All right.
Make it good.
like, if I didn't even show up to work, I'm only missing 10% of seriousness.
Are you telling me you would start judging people when they call 911 of whether or not they need 911?
Well, I would just assume that they don't because of all the prior calls. That's all I'm saying. I heavily influenced by what's happened prior to my experience. Anyway, all
I'll
right,
leave it with
Busdeker, we
this.
gotta go here.
A person named Solitaire in the chat room says, I called 911 as a kid after my dad told me he was dead to the world. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Super sad and twisted. I'm like, all right.
Why'd your dad tell you that?
Welcome to the show. I think it's his first time in the chat room. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
The
And,
person's name is Solitaire.
Solitaire is very sad.
Yeah, very by himself.
By himself,
already.
alone. Well, you're not alone here. We're glad to have you.
Bangalore on the bus every Friday at 9.
8.
8.
Oh, you tried.
Actually,
You looked at me, and I tried to send you 8 through our eyes. I tried
To be
send
fair,
It
it
was
used
one
to
or
be.
the
It
other.
used to be at 9. They moved
That's
it up,
what I remember.
They moved it up an hour.
They did?
I think so. Yeah.
What happened? Well, they take our show off. They took our show off.
Are we even on?
Are we on?
Yeah, are we on?
I would
know.
have no idea.
I don't know if we're on anymore.
Yeah. I've never.
I mean,
I don't think you're on Fridays.
Casey, what? I've been sending the file to Casey.
we've been paying him.
Yeah, we've been
I
paying-
hope he's been
Wait a
doing
minute.
nothing.
I hope he's living in a different state.
All right, Busdeker. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye-bye.